You are now entering Maximum Driftcast, the only drifting podcast hosted by a Spanish soccer mom, a 30-year-old silver-haired fox going on 60, and finally, a 200-pound bowl of spaghetti with chimichanga arms.
The champions, we are the champions.
And here's another episode of Maximum Drift Cats.
Maximum Drift Cats. Oh, that's
Drift Caps.
Caps?
Yeah, caps. Bottle caps.
What? Oh,
We're going to talk about
That's a new one.
vintage bottle caps from Coca-Cola to Pepsi and all the years between.
This is the Caps Cast. You guys have been big Caps Cast fans, followers for many years. So we're doing a very special Caps Cast, only bottle caps.
Yep.
Cat caps.
Sam, I got a bottle of water today and had a nice cap on it earlier. It's really cool. It's clear, too. So I figured you'd get a kick out of that.
and my White Claw doesn't have a cap, but it has a
boy.
thingy.
Oh,
We're just gonna call that the cap
White
too.
Claws. White Claw, the
Man.
official alcoholic beverage of Pat Gooden.
Yes, Pat Gooden.
Man, we have 1,000 things to talk about because
Wow.
we just got back from the Drift Atlanta, one of the craziest, coolest rounds of Formula Drift that has occurred, I believe, in my personal, private opinion. But man, I'd say we just talk about none of it and end the show.
Yep.
Yep, cool.
Yep.
Also, I just want to throw it out there real quick before we end the show that Dylan Hughes is the best Pro 2 driver and no one else can beat him. Someone else changed my mind. Just gonna throw that out there.
Oh, straight up, just
Well,
Yeah.
Dylan, he has a proper package. He's in a 240 on Nexon tires. He has the real deal working with him. So that's what I would agree with you, Sam.
I would say that no one is the champion but he.
no one else could defeat him ever on competition, right?
This is where you talk.
You sure?
Hey, there you
Hey
go.
guys, you sure?
What's up? This must be the
Oh,
guy
okay.
that beat my bud Dylan. You little bitch. What's up? Sorry, that was rude of me.
Listening to.
Well, welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But welcome this time.
welcome to the show, Ola Jaeger, pilot of Chucky,
Chuck E.
the
Cheese.
infamous previous Aasbo car, and winner of this first 2018 Pro 2 round in Atlanta, and won with quite a spectacular battle to the top. So congratulations and welcome to our little show.
Thank you guys. This event was a lot of fun, and yeah, still can't believe we won the first event without having too much testing of the car with a new setup. So still flying high.
Oh yeah, it sounds like you're very enthused in your Norwegian way.
Yeah.
What is the secret? What is the secret? What's the
What's
I
secret
don't know the
sauce?
secret. We were supposed to go testing a lot this winter on the ice with Fredric Aasbo and all the other guys, but yeah, had to work and save some money instead. So maybe don't test at all before we go to the first race and hope for the best.
That's always a good tactic. I think Corey is going to be living that one up sometime pretty soon here. And we've seen a lot of drivers at Long Beach just try that without ever trying their car, just throw it at the walls. So good advice for sure.
I don't think I will try that next year, but one time lucky, I don't think we can be that lucky next time.
Yeah. So we want to talk all about your roots, your origins, your path to glory here. But I think the question that is always raised, for better or for worse, when we hear about you, is that you drive Chucky, Freddie Aasbo's old car. How did that come to be? And Fredric told me actually at Atlanta, because I was watching the round Pro 2 next to him for some moment and watching some of your battles. He told me that he never actually owned Chucky. It was just his car for a while. But how did you come to be the pilot of Chucky?
I started off with Japan Auto, that Fredric Aasbo built a car for Japan Auto that imports Japanese cars to Norway. He built the car in 2007, and he had it over here for many years just 1 year before he took it to the Red Bull World Championship. And he drove that car and was planning to drive that car, I think, for many years, but then Papadakis got in the game, and the car got parked at the public storage, still owned by Japan Auto. So I started driving for him back in Norway with another Supra
For
in
Freddie
2011.
himself?
Huh?
For Freddie, like under
No,
his wing?
for Japan Auto.
Okay, gotcha.
we built another Supra in 2011. Started competing with that, and during the time, the guy on Japan Auto told me that we have the car in the U.S. So if Freddie still keeps the car there, you can drive it whenever you're ready and get your license for FD. So it was kind of a plan for many years to go to the U.S. drifting scene, but we were not sure until last year, though. So the car has been there for many years without upgrades. So it was a plan, but we didn't know if the plan was going to happen.
It's really cool to see this car that has been a stepping stone for one of now the world's greatest drifters, Fredric Aasbo. He had obvious success with it, and it's great to see now maybe the next gen of one of the world's greatest drifters having success with it initially. So it's just really cool to see this Supra, this storied Supra, getting so much, getting used so well by you guys.
Yeah, and it's fun that the car comes back to life. I think we tried to last year to upgrade the car race by race. It was obviously not in the good shape that we thought it was. The drifting scene has moved on a lot the last 10 years, of course. So we tried to upgrade every race, and we figured out this winter we have to renew the whole car. But we wanted to keep the sole on Chucky, and kind of looks the same, but it's still a bit wider and it's more glossy. But overall, it's still Chucky with new parts, of course. I feel the car is now more competitive, and last year I was more of a passenger in the car.
Yeah. So what's changed on the car since it was the flagship of the Aasbo train?
So we basically rebuilt the whole rear end, placed the fuel safe, lower to the ground, more good weight balance. We rebuilt the front with a new engine setup, new gearbox, suspension, and of course the Rad Industries weapon wide body kit. So it's one of the lightest cars. It was 29.16 at the weight, so it's just 16 pounds heavier than it should be. And so I think this is going to be a fast car in Pro 2 this year, competing against the PS13s that I obviously think is really fast cars, and they are. So, but I'm surprised that we got the car the light we did.
Oh yeah.
So why don't we talk a little bit of like the beginnings of?
Let's go way back. So we always like on the show to talk about the day that you were conceived. Where were your parents? What were they doing?
My parents live here in Fredrikstad, where I was born and raised. My father worked in the shipping business. My mother do cosmetics. So I always have a lot of sunscreen with me in the toolbox, maybe more than tools. Of course, you need that.
Avoid bursting in the flames.
So you were conceived in a shipping container covered in sunscreen?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
That sounds similar to...
Self-tanning, of course, yeah.
Sounds similar to... What was that show? Yeah. Dexter?
Yeah.
Okay.
But my racing career started in 99 with go-karting.
How old were you then?
9.
9 years old in 1999 with go-karting in Norway. Tell us about that. How did that begin? Did your parents race, or how did you start?
No, actually, it was my neighbor that got me into it. He's always been a racing guy with boats and cars and everything. I always liked cars since I could walk. It was cars, boats, everything that can move with an engine. The go-karting thing started as a hobby, but it's kind of developed itself really fast. We started to do competitions, and all of a sudden we started doing well, and it kind of it went really fast to be too much expensive. Then we had to stop in 2005. But we got a lot of good results, and we had a lot of fun, but kind of ran out of money, as many people do at the beginning of go-karting.
Yeah, and so 2005, that puts you at about 14 years old. And how did you learn about drifting? How did you become involved?
Aasbo was also drifting, also doing go-karting back then at the same local track, half an hour from my house. So I kind of knew him from before a little bit. And then I saw him at Rudskogen, the close track here nearby, the same track at Gatville. I saw him drifting an old E30 BMW, and that looked like a lot of fun, just going out there. I did at the go-kart track at rain, sliding around, but he was doing it in the car, so I figured that must be the most fun thing to do in a car.
So That's
I
really
started
cool
saving
though.
up money.
You actually got involved because of Freddie. You saw him doing it, and then you just won an event in his car. That's quite a beautiful little story.
It's kind of
funny.
cool.
Yeah. So you said you had an E30.
No, Fredric Aasbo had an E30.
Oh, he had an E30. Okay.
I was just 15, so I was 16 years old when I saw that. So I started saving up money and trying to fix some old cars just to get enough money to buy a Supra, actually.
Yeah. No. Well, so tell us, what was your first car, and how did you save money to get it? What were you doing to afford it?
I got a French car, a Peugeot 406. I was in the taxi movies.
Peugeot?
The French taxi movie. So I built a car exactly like that one.
Whoa.
And, and
Okay.
sold it and actually made some money out of it. So then I bought a Supra with my savings, and that car sold.
So that's how you buy a Supra, Corey. You buy a Trans Am, turn it into the Night Rider.
Mm-hmm.
You make enough money, buy
basically.
yourself a Supra.
Well, I'm hoping to go the Aasbo route and start with the E30, then sell that because I'm already halfway there.
Okay.
I'm halfway to a Supra at this point.
Nice.
Corey, does your E30, is it still cruising? I haven't seen you rip it in a while.
It's still there. I'm actually getting it fixed up right now, Samuel.
So which means it's cutting its balls?
No, I'm putting a new transmission in it. I'm changing a few things on the body kit, getting a new
nice.
top on it, just kind of cleaning it up again.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I wish it was a Supra, but that's what time.
Brett has a Supra.
Yeah, Brett does have a Supra.
Hi, Brett.
Hi, Brett.
Ola, how much did what year was your Supra? Was it a turbo one, and how much did that cost in Norway?
It was a 94 Supra turbo one, a little bit not looking perfect, but the technical part of it was really good. It cost around 12,000.
Oh
Was
my
it
God.
back then?
What year was this again?
It's a 94.
No, what year did you buy the car?
Oh, 2008.
I feel like in America that would still be like a $30,000 car,
Pretty
but I
expensive.
guess I don't.
That was like
know
right
what
on the
Supras cost.
right on the Fast and Furious craze. Every Supra was like 60 grand, 80 grand.
Yeah, I mean, even before Fast and Furious came out, I remember, shopping around when I was 16 years old for cars, and like ended up with my Mustang and looked at 240s and other stuff. Like Supras were obviously on the list of awesome cars, but they were still really expensive. I feel like they were a lot more expensive than 12 grand. Not that I could afford more than 2 grand, but that's pretty
Really
cool
expensive
though.
back here as well. But the
Yeah.
right-hand drive from Japan was a lot cheaper because you couldn't have license plates on them back here, so they were just meant to be on the racetrack. That kind of took up a lot of value back then.
Oh, okay. So you've always had the ability to import cars. America has pretty strict import laws, I imagine you're aware. But Norway, I think we've heard from other guests, is a little bit looser on importing Japanese cars.
Yeah, you can import the car and pay taxes for it. You don't have to have license plates on it, so you can just have the car as a race car and get a license on the car, doing all the rules for drifting.
So your Supra wasn't street legal at all, or was it street legal as well?
It was street legal. It just kind of started off with coilovers and a roll cage, and then, it always starts off with one thing leads to another.
Yeah. Very cool. So tell us the upgrade path on your Supra. So this is your first drift occurred in this Supra, or was the Peugeot rear-wheel drive?
Peugeot was a little bit e-brake drifting, but yeah,
Yeah, that's not real. Wasn't really actually
a
drifting.
lot of flat spots.
Yeah.
I had my mom actually had one of those 406 in Mexico, 4-door though. Well, you said yours was like the taxi one, right?
Yeah, I painted it white, put a body kit on it.
4-door as well.
and
Oh, that sounds sick. Dude.
Yeah, they were actually relatively fast little cars, but
That was
yeah.
112 horsepower, so yeah.
Oh, definitely not the same as the one we had in Mexico is a V6. It was like 240, but
Yeah, we had those as well, but it was really expensive to buy.
oh, my mom had an expensive version of it.
Yeah, she's a classy lady.
Yeah,
She's a
Wow.
classy
Exclusive.
lady.
The thing that I hate about it though is that whenever I take her out to dinner, she always orders the nicest things in the menu. So that's a bummer.
Yeah, double decker with cheese and a baconator.
Yep, she always gets the bacon
Just
in it. I
nice.
can't afford that.
Yeah, come on, Mom. We told you to stay off that. So,
Come on, mommy. Please, mommy.
Aye.
so
I-
after you built your Supra, Ola, where did you guys originally start competing in? What organization was it? Something you were just kind of tooling around for fun, or where did you kind of start developing your career? Where did it all start?
We went to Gatville and just drove at the free open sessions drifting around with really good drivers and bad drivers. There was like a whole bunch of drivers together. So it's kind of like a crazy time to be out there on the track because you can crash whenever going into the corner. Someone has spun around, and and all of a sudden Aasbo came like 50 miles higher speed than the others and sideways. So you just had to follow the best guy. And
how could you?
like,
So it seems like a crazy place to learn and a crazy climate to learn how to drift. Did you have time before that, or is that where you learned?
No, it kind of started there.
Man, I can't imagine. I'm just picturing like some of you listening have seen my efforts to first start drifting and how fucking bad I was. Like just, I can't imagine. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen these videos of the Gatteville track. Like it's incredibly high speed and it's like a full blown racetrack. I can't imagine trying to learn on that.
But the track was actually smaller back then. The straight was half the length, and they rebuilt the car ready for 2011. So before that, it was a smaller track. You can link the whole track.
I was wondering how big was Gatteville back then? I mean, was it like already this huge event, or was that just more like local drifting?
Yeah, when I started in 2008, it already has begun to like on the takeoff. It was a lot of people. It was crazy back then as well. But now they got more rules. It's more strict than it was back then. Before it was kind of it was as much fun as it is now, but not that serious. You could go there with having any car you want and just have fun and go out there, and you can basically hit the track whenever you want. Now it's more like divided to groups where you can go drifting. You have street cars, you have race cars. Back then was all.
Is it getting more professional?
Yeah, it's really professional.
Oh, you're professional.
Well, I mean, do they still
drifting, running things?
Those were some of the coolest videos, though, is like seeing a bunch of like grip cars out there and then seeing Aasbo and whoever just threading the needle in between all those cars and just drifting like a maniac in and out of slower cars. Does that still exist at Gatteville, or is that kind of done now?
It's kind of done, but we keep doing it.
Okay. Good to hear. You don't get black flagged or kicked out.
Yeah, we do that on
track.
Sundays because we need to get back home. So when we get 3 black flags, you have to go home.
So you know you're
always
gonna
on Sunday we do all the in-between drifting.
Oh, it's good though that they don't kick you out for the next year, but you can just get kicked out for that event and be fine.
Yeah. And you can beg for getting your driver's plate back.
Yeah, one of the best videos that I got, Bill Sam, was Mad Mike and Aasbo threading the needle. That's what it was. I remember watching that not too long ago, but there was like, as Ola was saying, it was like a 50-mile-an-hour difference, and they're kind of just, threading the needle through 3 or 4 cars. I'm assuming it's probably just the new guys out there tooling around, and these guys go out there.
That's right, because they're just like literally like drifting around the slowest people.
Yeah, they just
that's so
insane.
cool.
make their own line. No, it's super awesome.
One of the coolest things that I remember seeing from Gatteville, it was one of our contributors, one of our content creators, Pontus Blomqvist. Hopefully, didn't butcher his name.
No, it sounded perfect.
Yeah, he got photos of. You were in this like 3-car team tandem competition together with Aasbo and Thor Anders. Right. Yeah, and I think wasn't him. He got like put a car up in space and like did like a triple backflip.
Yeah, that was last year.
That was last year.
After we won the Team Toyota, the triple drift thing, he went out of track following Aasbo, as he always does, of course, going down the straight as fast as he could. Aasbo was passing a lot of cars, and he was following, and someone was going in the right direction, but it was too little space in between the wall and the front wheel of the car. And as you've seen, many cars, they have not having their front fenders over the wheels. He was kind of climbing on his front wheel and just flew up in the air. Yeah. That was in 100, I'm not sure, but 200 kilometers an hour.
Yeah, that
100 miles an hour, like
100 miles
120 miles an hour. Yeah, 30.
His car was built in the right way for the FIA standard, so it went well, but yeah, could have been a lot worse.
And I imagine that's one of the reasons why they probably don't want people doing that as much anymore.
That, and we don't have to go like that fast on the straight and doing the e-brake pull to the wall at the end of the straight, because it kind of got faster and faster over the past years, and at some point it's gonna get real bad if someone crash.
Right. I can't wait to go driving out there and be that person that ruins it for everyone.
Yeah.
Where
you
you
borrow my car?
Were you at
Perfect,
the?
thank you.
There you go. Nice. That's pretty nice.
Oh, wow.
Were you at the ice drifting? What was that? Where was that at?
Lakes
The
around
frozen
in
lake.
Sweden and up in Norway.
Yeah, with downstairs kisser Jay Robinson and Aasbo. You guys,
Yeah, I was
you
supposed
guys
to go
were
there
ripping.
this winter.
Did you get a chance?
No, I didn't get a chance. I had to work a lot, and we were kind of back on money to go to the first race, so I just had to work, and I didn't get to spend anything on ice drifting. But next year, I'll definitely. I'm already preparing a car for the ice drifting season, so I think that's the best practice you can get going out there and low power, good tires, good grip.
So it looks like they have a bunch of
Aasbo and Robinson had said that had really helped them hone their skills in the off season.
Yeah, and it seemed like they had a bunch of Supras there. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it was like up to 5 Supras. I would imagine.
Yeah, that's right.
Jesus.
Actually,
they have all the
like
Supras over there.
After Aasbo built Chucky, there was just they called it the Supra Championship back in Norway. In drifting scene, because there was so many Supras. There was maybe 12 to 15 Supras at the same time at the track at Gapville.
Damn.
They look so
now
cool
it's
with
all
studded
BMWs.
tires.
Why was the Supra your first car choice, other than just that it's awesome? What was special about it for you?
Actually, in '94, I had a first video game at the Nintendo 64. I saw the Castrol Supra.
Oh.
And I liked the lines of the car. It was the fastest car in the game. So
which video game was that?
That was the GT racing, I think. GT, it was called 24 Hours or something.
I don't even remember that game. I don't even know what that is.
There's a picture of a Castrol Supra on the front, so it just had to.
Oh, nice.
I remember that car from Gran Turismo, back in the very first Gran Turismo.
Yeah.
That Castrol Supra was like, oh, that car is so hot.
I remember
Same.
Star Fox, and I could do barrel rolls.
Corey
That's
can
what I
do
was
cinnamon rolls.
Yep.
Corey,
There's
what's your
a
favorite?
Supra like that from that point.
Corey, what's your favorite cinnamon roll?
The Supra.
Okay, good answer.
Straight up.
Mark IV?
Mark IV. Mark IV. I would go Mark II if I just wanted something a little more spicy, but yeah, I'm a Mark IV guy.
Mark II cinnamon roll. How much frosting do you like in that roll? You want a little bit of frosting? You want to frost the whole thing up?
You know, it's just enough. You know, it's just enough is usually what I look for.
Very interesting. All right, so let's talk about your progress, Ola, from when you got the Supra, you started building it, you started being good at drifting. You competed in series around Norway, I imagine. I essentially want to get to where you got to today, but how did you get there? So you started with your Supra. Where did you compete after having fun at Goteville, and how did you get to Pro 2?
I started to compete in 2011 with a new built Supra that I built for Japan Auto. The white Supra I actually drive today. We debuted that car at the July meeting, Gapville meeting in 2011. Then I tried my first race in 2011. Just hit all the cones and went out in top 16.
Yeah.
That's a Power Drift Norwegian drifting series that I was driving and competing in. It's a Norwegian series, was started by Kenny Moen and the Japan Auto guy, Tomola. And in 2012, I was competing the full series and won the series the first year and got second in the Norwegian Championship. So I won the Power Drift series and got the silver medal with that Supra. And then it started to get real serious for me because it's always been in my nature to compete, not just driving for fun, of course for fun, but competing and getting better and better and developing my car and myself at the same time. And I always liked the thing of competing and getting that pressure of myself. So 2013, we got the Drift All-Stars, 3 races in Riga, Kristaps home track, and in Sweden.
Mm-hmm.
And we got 2 fourth places. Then I kind of started to realize that maybe we should do this in an even higher level the years to come. But at the same time, I was watching Aasbo doing well in the U.S., and I always liked the U.S., so basically it started off, I love to be in the U.S., so I would love to drive there as well and live there maybe at some point in my life. So it was always a plan going to FD, but I tried to increase my level of driving back here in Europe first because that was cheaper, not taking the big step before I was sure that was something I wanted to do.
Very cool. And how have you found support We always like to talk about, one of our big questions that people always ask us is how do you bridge that gap from going from amateur to pro and getting over here? How did you get support to come to Pro 2?
There's a lot of people here in Norway, drivers as well, that like to help each other out. It's a good community and everybody is friends with each other. So I got a lot of support from other drivers, people in my city, around, everywhere, that helps me and want to live the dream as well, going to the US drifting scene. And they're actually helping me financing out their own pocket. Small amount of money, but many enough people that will help a lot. So from amateur to professional drifting, I obviously worked hard to try to get sponsors. I got many good sponsors that helped me for a long time, and they're doing more now than ever. And but of course, it always costs more than you think it will. So going over last year was a huge surprise for me.
Right.
Seeing how much money I was spending at the time during each race, because I didn't know who was going to transport my car, who was going to take care of everything, where should I be located, and all that stuff. That I think that's the hardest part of going to the U.S. drifting scene. That how should I get the car around to all the places, and I have to work 100% back home as well at the same time. So yeah, it's not the easiest way.
The logistics and everything. If you could estimate, how much does it cost you, someone from Norway, to compete in one Pro 2 round? If you could just guess. You don't have to if you don't want to, but we're always curious.
Yeah, I would say $10,000 to $13,000 for a race.
Damn.
With everything.
And that's including. I was going to say, and then that's including obviously your flight from Norway, your team, and somebody in your situation. How long did you have to stay in the States prior to leading up to Atlanta?
I'm trying to fly over Saturdays or Sundays just to get to the time difference in my head, like getting used to, because now Atlanta was a late night race, and then I will obviously be tired because of the 6 hours time difference. So I'm trying to go there Saturday or Sunday just to have a few days off and get used to, of course, language and the heat and the time difference, of course.
Yeah, I've never been good with jet lag. I can only imagine the drivers like you and Fredric and Kristaps and Dai and everyone that flies from Japan and Europe. I can't imagine how you guys adapt so quickly, because I just feel mentally deficient for days after I travel across the world. It's hard.
It's hard, but it's actually worse going back. When you get back, you're like, now I'm really tired, but in the evenings you can't sleep, and it takes a week to get back. They say someone told me that it takes the same amount of days that it is hours difference to get back in the game.
Man, yeah, I can hear that. I mean, that's pretty crazy though. In your case, that's like what, 10, 11 days?
And now it's 6 hours, so it's 6 days.
Yeah, 6 days. Okay.
I got back to work yesterday, and I was tired.
What do you do for work?
I sell cars, Volvos, Kia cars back in my city.
Really? Is that is that a new car dealership, like Volvo and Kia hang out together? Are you selling used stuff?
In Norway, we can have like those two cars at the same shop because it doesn't compete with each other.
Yeah.
Because Kia will be a cheap one, and the Volvo is more exclusive, so we can have them in the same building.
All right. What are you gonna do to get me to walk away in a brand new Volvo today? What? Tell me about the features.
Guess the pitch.
Stereo.
The stereo.
Yep.
Can I bump?
Stereo.
Can it play Darude Sandstorm or no?
Yeah, I can play that really well.
Wow.
Really?
I want
All right,
one.
I'm sold.
Yeah, I'll take two of them.
I'll take
You'll
two.
get wind
Cool.
in your hair or the subwoofer.
Oh.
You don't have to try to convince me to buy a Volvo. You just like
Volvos are pretty sweet.
Yeah.
My boss man, one of my buddies, Jacob at RS, he just got a XC90. That's really cool. The plug-in hybrid one. But that car is super nice. And I remember
That's a really cool car.
I remember in my valet days, I was driving one of the hatchback turbo, like R-Spec, whatever the hell they call them. It's like little dude. And because I was a bad valet, I would always floor the cars and go too fast in them. And I remember thinking that little Volvo was fast as hell.
I got some fast cars, and I got the Polestar versions as well.
Sam,
S60 with 320 horsepower and 350 horsepower, actually.
Yeah.
Sam, what is your favorite valet? The Swan Lake? Oh, that's Valette.
Do you making a joke, Paco?
No, I'm just, yeah. Nah.
Hey Sam, a question for you. What's your favorite car to valet? I know there's a lot of options, but what's your favorite one to valet?
What's your favorite one to fart in?
Well, my favorite one to fart in, that's a good question. Thank you for asking. My favorite one to fart in would be, there was this car at the very high-end mall where I managed to valet, and the guy would never, he'd always insist that he parks it and drives it, which we couldn't really let them do because of liability, because if he backs into one of our other cars, 'cause he had a parallel park, the fancy cars up front. If he backed into one of those, we would be held responsible for it. So we had to do it, but he would always insist that he did it. And we would actually let people do it if they paid us enough, because just like any industry where tipping is critical, if you pay them enough, they'll do whatever you want. So we'd let him do it all the time. But I remember one day he didn't tip a lot, so I said, "No, I've got to do it," and I farted in it.
Nice.
I believe it was a Porsche Carrera GT.
Ooh.
So yeah, very
Beautiful.
nice car.
But you
I
fully
moved it.
injected into it.
Yeah, I parallel parked it between probably some sort of Lambo and probably Shaq's diesel truck, Shaq diesel. But definitely ripped a little ripper, little squeaker, maybe even a slimer, depending on how hot the day was.
Yeah, no,
gross.
it's interesting to hear that story. I appreciate that. Ola, do you spend much time in other cars?
Not too much, but I used to work with rental cars, so yeah, I used to do it.
I'm sure you.
How many?
Have
many
you
cars
ever?
have you
Hold on,
parked
hold on,
in?
hold on. Have you ever had a rental car with chicken wing bones kind of scattered throughout it?
No, I haven't.
Okay, nice.
Corey, funny you should
Any
say
other
that.
things though.
I actually saved the story because I just learned about the whole Instagram highlights thing. So you can highlight stories. And
Yeah,
save
we
them
saw
forever.
that.
So I highlighted our
Oh.
From the Drift Atlanta chicken wing stories. You guys can go see that anytime you want. If you want to go to our Maximum Driftcast Instagram, Paco, Corey, and I had a nice little chicken wing party at a really nice wing place in Atlanta. And they didn't like us very much after that,
And
but we
could-
had a good time.
And can we mention that our rental car was a Buick?
Yeah, if you go to
It's a
Atlanta, look for a white Buick LaCrosse Turbo.
Lacrosse.
Lacrosse.
And then, LaCroix.
LaCroix.
LaCroix. Water. Sparkling water.
Yeah.
And there
And
might be,
clean
but
leather
anyways,
seats.
there might be a chicken wing underneath one of the windshield wipers. Just let us know if you find it. Corey's been missing it. There's still a little bite left on it.
Yeah, I just get the last little nibble, just to top it off and some ranch. But so
I
let's.
think I was gonna. Oh, Corey, you go ahead.
No, I was gonna say if we can keep talking about chicken wings all night and chicken bones, yeah. Or we can ask Ola, is how he felt coming back into Atlanta and going through the paces.
What I don't even know what that means.
Well, pace is a step, Sam.
Yeah.
So going through the steps of becoming the champion, the current points leader in Pro 2.
Oh, you mean like driving throughout the event?
Yeah.
I would just say that he's lucky he didn't meet you there because you just gave him the opportunity to win because you didn't have your car ready because your engine got misplaced. So I would say, Ola, if you want to thank Corey real quick for not being
No,
there.
I
to beat
thank
you.
him because I put my money on him. We had a bet going into this. I was like, Ola, here's a couple bones. Here's some Mr. Washingtons. Take this thing to the top. Take the Edelbrock supercharger to the top, and
Take this Edelbrock supercharger
that's what he
straight to
did.
the top of the podium.
Yep.
What's
Now you
up?
got a
What's up,
2J
Jeff
as well,
Jones?
car, haven't you?
What's that?
You got a 2J now, right?
I'm working on it. Yeah, that's,
Maybe.
that's the plan. It was funny because about 3 weeks before Atlanta, my engine was lost in some shipping facility. We had no idea where it was at for like 2 or 3 weeks, and they finally found it once they realized that the insurance on the engine was about $12,000.
Go figure. They found it. Once
Yeah,
they
so I
realized
figured
it.
they found it
Yeah.
once they realized it. Because at first they were like, yeah, we don't know where it is. We don't know where it is. And then I was like, well, all right, at what point do I just claim insurance on this thing? And you could tell I've been talking to this same chick who's probably just somebody that answers the phone for the shipping company, which I believe I got to figure out what the shipping company name is. I can tell you guys. But she's like, oh, yeah, we would owe you $12,000. She's like, let me talk to my manager on this one. So she ends up like calling back a few hours later, and her manager was on the phone. So it actually ended up being in a warehouse in Seattle somewhere.
So it was
sitting
already there.
with
just-
all the labels, no shipping labels. Everything was ripped off of it. So I was assuming that magically all the labels disappeared off the package and just sat in a storage facility somewhere until obviously he raised a claim about it. So that was kind of one of the biggest hiccups. And I'm like, I'm going to catch a break with this thing one day. And I will. And I think we are, because we're so close. Because I just talked to the dudes at PSI, Jason and Megan over there, and we'll be doing Grid Life. That's locked and loaded. It sounds like Jason will be tuning the car next week, and we'll be shipping out before New Jersey. So I'll meet the car out there in Michigan.
Yeah, it's going to be super exciting. Corey, just to fulfill contractual obligations, he's going to do one lap, and that's going to be going down the hill.
Running. I'm actually
we're going to be at Midwest, so it won't be a hill. But we're going to be. He's going to be towing me behind. I'm going to be holding on to like about 20 or 30 bungee cables looped together and then on roller skates.
Well, what I was thinking, Sam, worst case scenarios, we'll rent another Buick and then we'll just take the body kit off the Boss and bolt it or strap it onto the Buick somehow.
That's a good move.
And we can just either tape it or strap it in.
So are we going to get another Buick?
Include chicken wings as well?
Yes.
We will probably have some for sure, and then we'll kind of use that as a leverage as far as why we couldn't complete the run.
Mm-hmm. I just realized that a chicken wing with like a bite out of it is kind of shaped in the profile of a car. So that'd be kind of cool to do like the side profile, like the hood and the roof line is kind of where the bite is taken out.
So I would do one big wing on one side, on each side.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That'd be a good livery. Maybe if we could get sponsored by Chicken Wings, Mr. Wing, if you could sponsor
the show,
Maximum Driftcast wing car, we'd be really appreciative. So thank you.
Did you ever had a chance to get some chicken wings in Atlanta, Ola?
Yeah, the boneless wings are really good. Actually,
boneless wing. Oh, come on,
disgusting!
That's my favorite.
For a second, I thought you were American, but you just proved us wrong. Definitely not American.
Not actually a real wing, isn't it?
I mean, it's scraps.
It's actually a chicken ball.
Essentially, chicken scraps glued together.
It's a chicken ball, is what it is. Actually, the balls of the chicken.
It uses a bonding agent.
Yep. Here's a question for you, Ola. If we were in Norway right now, sitting next to you in your dark, gloomy room, where would we go to grab a quick breakfast, and what would we eat?
We have egg and bacon.
Bacon?
I feel like most of Europe doesn't do breakfast very well, but you guys actually do good breakfast in Norway?
Yeah. We have real bread, not the white bread. We have, like in France, like fresh bread every morning. And the breakfast is an important meal in Norway.
Some might say the most important.
I try to skip it, though, but...
Yeah, me too.
Tired going to work in the morning.
Yeah, me too.
Actually, you know what? Before we talk about Atlanta, we'll talk about the Supra again, because now I'm really interested in all this.
Okay, here we go.
Sorry, Sam. Just give me a second. Jeez, I'm talking to my friend.
You know, one of these days, Corey might show up to a Pro 2 event.
Do you know
Be careful what you say.
Do you know who you remind me of, Sam? Sam, do you remember back in the
again.
day when you used to have a landline in your house and like you'd be talking on your phone, your mom would pick up the phone. Sam, you're off the phone. It's already 12 o'clock or 11 o'clock.
Yeah,
that's what I feel like when I was
girls,
talking. You don't talk to girls, Sam.
I was talking to girls all freaking night, dude.
No, you weren't.
One girl doesn't count as girls.
I was talking.
Or Brett. Brett doesn't count as a girl either, and neither does
How you doing?
Gay Kyle. Those guys don't count as girls. So
I wasn't friends with any of those guys till college, pretty much. So I'm talking like 12, 13 years old. Here's what we do. Here's
just
the deal.
slaying it.
I had a pager. All right.
Okay.
You might not know what that is.
Nope.
But the babes that paged me and they'd be like, "Yo, call me." And then they'd write boobs. That's 80085.
Oh, and so what does that mean? What does that mean, Sam?
That means that we're gonna talk all night
about
nothing. I don't even know. But what do we even talk about? But like they would call like 1 in the morning. You let the phone I don't even know how you do it.
You say, "Hey, let the phone ring once."
Yeah, but you don't even let it ring once because mom's asleep. She's gonna be tweaked off. So you gotta cover the ringer. You muffle the ringer. This is something kids will never know about today.
No,
this is quite a tangent
idea.
we're on.
But that just shows our age. That was probably in 1998, Sam.
Also, one time I heard Blink 182 "Damn It" on the radio, and then I didn't have my tape recorder ready.
Yeah.
So I called back
and requested
when that song came out. And I was like, "Hey, I requested the song," and then I sat next to my boombox with my finger on the record button, just
so
waiting.
You can catch that. Yep, I
did catch it, and then I did after like 3 hours, and then I just had that tape on repeat on my pocket while I did kick flips on the skateboard.
And you know what? And that was the beginning of you pirating software and music. So I want to report you to.
Oh God, please don't.
Yeah, I'm going to report you to
Napster.
I'm gonna have Napster police. So
please don't.
Yep. Sorry, Sam, you're out. Ola, Supra stuff. 2J. Your 2J and your Supra. Give me the rundown on that bad boy. What do you got in it? What is it? Fully built 3.0, 3.4, turbo, manifold. What do you got?
Upside
it's
down.
Actually a stock engine.
Stock engine.
So I would just put a turbo on it. turbo and bigger injectors, and that's basically it. We found
Are
a
you joking?
setup that would. No, I'm not joking. Actually, we were supposed to put a 3.4 ppm racing engine in it during the season. We're working with them from Australia, but for now we're doing the stock engine VVTi. We run 750 horsepower in the engine, and
Oh my
about
God.
foot-pound torque is 680 at the wheels.
Supras are 2Js especially are just ridiculous. The fact that you just won in a Pro 2 event with 750 horsepower, which is honestly like a good horsepower for those events, but a turbo and injectors, like that's it. 2JZ, no shit.
What manifold?
Yeah, basically. The manifold is from Drift Motion. It's actually one of the cheapest one he got, and they work really well. They fit really well, and yeah, we tried it back home last year just to check out the setup for this year's FD events, and it worked perfect. We got a huge amount of torque, and it didn't stop until we kind of turned down the boost.
All right, let's do some calculations here, Paco. You got a pen and paper ready?
Yeah.
Let's budget out
right.
Ola's engine. All right, so VVTi, what does that run right now? Just a stock engine.
Not around
2,500.
2,200.
2200. Yep. Okay, so 2200 VVTi.
Yeah.
Let's go manifold. Drift Motions manifold. What are we spending on that?
800.
It's
Paco,
I think it's $300.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
So $300 for a manifold. Boom. Okay. Let's
Turbo.
go injectors. What injectors are you running? Or fuel
Bosch
system?
injectors, 1800s. They're around. The price on these are 1,000, 900, 1,000.
So let's say 1,000 for
Let's
all
just say
six.
1,000 for all six in Bosch injectors, and that's a 1,600 cc. Outside of that, we will also
Borg Warner turbo.
Borg
EFR
Warner
series.
turbo. EFR series. What? Yeah. What model?
That turbo costs more than motor.
Well, let's see what it is. What model? Borg
74.
Warner.
Is it 8374? Was it? I think.
8374 Borg Warner, and that's going to be sitting around roughly what?
That's the most expensive part of the engine. It's 2,500.
All right. Let's
I guess.
get the calculator
That's
out.
$6,300 so far.
$6,300. You
Well,
can be running
transmission.
away.
Transmission.
Well, yeah, but that's just
Well,
the
let's
engine
not
package
talk about
because
that yet.
transmission
But I'm sure
can
there's
be
also
multiple options.
But you need it. I mean, like the
There's gotta be
transmission is
some-
definitely an important thing because it could be very, very expensive here.
It just all depends because you can run a 350Z trans on that too.
Yeah, but you have to pay for the adapter.
Well, just
But can't you run the
$400, $500.
R154 or whatever? And I know those are.
Or you can run an
aren't cheap these days,
R154. So it all
Let's
We're doing
depends.
the automatic gearbox.
Let's see. What would Ola
Lower
recommend
drive.
for transmission?
Well, it depends for the application, but obviously in this case, what are you running? GSR?
Andrews.
Andrews?
You're the same as the GSR
Yep,
almost.
GSR. So there's people running R154s, which would be just a bolt-on application. You would be able to run a 350Z diff, transmission. You could run. There's quite a few options, but when you price an engine package together, you don't price the transmission with the engine package. But for
Yeah,
$6,000, $6,000, you can have a 750 horsepower 2JZ. And how long have you been running that engine?
winning 2JZ because obviously you're on stock suspension, right?
No, we're using the stands. We should have used the stock, of course. Yeah.
Factory
Oh,
shots.
I hope you're sponsored by them. So
Cut springs.
We have vice fab front suspension, and we have like the stands coilovers that Rad Industries set up.
hell yeah, Radical
Um,
Daniel. What's up? I also a quick side note. I fully love that Jared has completely adopted our name for Rad Dan,
Radical
Radical Daniel. That
That's
is
cool.
Yeah.
that is something of beauty.
Before we go there, but I think Brian has a quick question.
Oh, I just wanted to add ECU to that cost. What computer are you using to run all this?
The
95
Outronic SM4.
MacBook.
What is it?
Outronic, the Australian one, SM4.
Estimated
Cost,
value?
around, how much was it? I think it's $1,500.
Does that run off the factory harness?
No, it's
Custom
new harness as well.
new harness.
I'll see. Like that's
See, there's the other two
so.
variables.
It's like another $600 harness.
Yeah,
There you
about
go.
that.
So I mean, but let's say $7,500 for a,
Here's an easier question: how much would it cost to make a 750 horsepower LS?
I'm not sure.
Corey, you made
that's
one of those and you blew it up on the dyno. How
No,
much did
yeah,
that cost?
I don't even want to think about that.
But see, like that, it's definitely for example, like if you want like a Kristaps V8 where it's fully NA, there's no power adders.
Well, Kristoff's V8 is like the best of the best LSs.
Well, should I know about Kristaps V8s because I
Yeah,
Paco's the
for
crew chief
audio-
this year.
For the
I'm
audio only
team
listeners,
Isn't it-
uh,
Sam, isn't it
Paco.
weird that Paco's the crew chief for Atlanta and he wins this round?
Yeah, that is really weird. Paco's wearing
say.
all the audio only listeners. Paco is wearing the Kristaps team shirt. Paco, where did you acquire that thing? I saw Kristaps running around shirtless in the pits after the event. So
I stole it from his trailer. As soon as I saw him going in, he got very naked. And then I got in there, and like when he was like trying to take off his socks, I went behind him, took his shirt, and I ran.
Nice.
So we're gonna in a little bit here after we talk about Ola's path to victory in Pro 2. We're gonna talk all about Pro 1. Ola watched it, and we can all discuss Pro 1 at Atlanta. But I want to real quick bring up the first words that Kristaps said to me after I ran up and hugged him after the podium ceremony. I hugged him and said congrats, and I mentioned that Corey and I had both called out during our halftime show, AM Intake's halftime show, that we said that Kristaps is going to win the event, and he looked at me and he says, "Nobody fucks on Latvia."
Yep. Do you know what he said to me?
That's
That's
the
right.
Yeah.
He said to me, he goes, "Nobody can beat me, bitch." And that was kind of his exact words. So
I really think his reaction was so
for those-
natural.
Just to be clear, for those that don't know or haven't met Kristaps and seen his humor, like, you know, he's a very humble, very polite, very nice man, but he was so absolutely happy to win that he just went wild. So, anyways, we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a second. Let's talk about Ola.
before-
Corey, do you have any more questions for Ola about his hacked up car?
no.
And before we go to the next question, Chris Nelson.
Well, yeah, I did.
Oh,
I did. How long have you been running that setup for? Was that something off of last year, or is this a fresh engine for this year? And I don't know if it's considered
this
fresh
setup-
since it's used. Is it still factory pistons with how many kilometers on it?
Yeah, I'm not sure about the engine we have back home. It was like it was running 200,000 miles when we started building that engine, actually. So we ran it since 2011. Last year we had a few issues, but we're still running the same engine. So
2Js are so ridiculous.
So
How
you've
is this
been
motors?
Oh my god.
yeah,
How
it
is
doesn't
this
make
motor-
sense. It seems to last forever.
I mean, it seems like for Pro 2, you need to run a 2J or an LS if you're feeling rich. Like, there's no, but as far as cost to bang for the buck, and like, it's just, it blows my mind. Corey, how stupid do you feel for building this big ass expensive LS that probably would have ran fine if you just spent more money on it? But
I don't
mean-
even know. I don't even know. Well, hearing this, it's like I've ran a stock LS before, and actually, once again, I think you're really limited. Obviously, limit on power. You put cams in it and leave, the pistons and rods. Leave it at factory and throw cams in. I think you're only good for 475, depending on what LS model it is.
I heard it's like
yeah,
600 is the cap, kind of around that area for NA LS1 builds, and then anything above 600, you really have to go really expensive internal.
Yeah, that's like what I was going with Kristaps V8. That mast engine is probably what, like 30, 40 grand?
yeah,
I
it is
would
a
probably
fully
say
built
more than
insane
that.
LS. I do want to talk about that LS in
Yeah.
the Pro 1 area when we talk about that on the show. But like Dylan's motor, I forget exactly what he said. It is running internally. It's in our Blackout Garage episode. We talk about Dylan a little bit, but he has like a 600 horsepower LS essentially. But I think between the motor cost and the minor upgrades he's done to internals and everything, it's probably still like a $10,000 to $15,000 motor. Dylan, I'm sure you're gonna yell at me for fucking this up, but it's still probably at least twice the cost of building a similar horsepower 2J.
Well, do you know what the thing about Dylan's car that's so unique is that it's very simplistic. His LS is very simple, and it's kind of
and that's what makes the whole thing work.
and that's
well,
what
is
makes
that
it work.
it's-
And from what Ula's saying, his is obviously very, very simple, and I think simplicity is kind of where everybody's going, and that's why everybody's running the 3-liter this year. And obviously, Dean and Peter kind of started to deal with that. And
What is a crazy trend that I forget if we mentioned on the show before, but I know we talked about it behind the scenes, is that after the dominant year from Dean last year, all these dudes that had stroked out, bored out 2Js, they all went back to the factory displacement. So Turk, who else? I'm brain farting. Turk and
Forrest.
Gucci and who else? Who else was
Belushi.
2J?
Forrest.
Yeah. These guys all went from their board motors back to the factory displacement, and I guess just due to wear and whatever other reasons. I don't know.
But has that been
Anyway.
the trend? Ula, has that been the trend back in Norway? Has everybody's been kind of keeping that same 3-liter, not really overbuilding them to like a 3.4 or anything like that, or is Is this something new, or have you guys been doing for a long time? Or
I think a lot of people building the car too complex. I think the most important thing is to build a car that you understand, that you know every bolt and nut on. And I've always been like that, trying to build the easiest car to maintain during a season. And obviously, more and more people, as you say, the top 4, maybe now top 5 in Pro 2, they're building their car really easy and not too many components that are too extremely complex. And I think that's the way the drifting scene goes. But you can see cars as Kristaps' cars, Aasbo car, is really, I think they're extreme cars compared to many of our Pro 2 cars. But of course, the sport develops really fast. The cars get more extreme, but I still think people are thinking to make them work easy and use easy components to make them work, because it's a circus running around the whole country, of course. So you need to have easy maintenance on the car. You don't have too much time.
Yeah, the Pro 2 game is, the Pro 1 game, let's talk about that first. There's extremely complicated cars in Pro 1, but they're complex, but they have great teams and great financial backing, and they can make these cars work to some degree, but there's still definitely something behind simpler the better. Pro 2, and there's this nice separation right now, I think, between Pro 2 and Pro 1 and where Pro was years ago. Is Pro 2 right now, like, it is so critical to have a simple, easy setup, because you guys are excellent drivers, but you're still learning so much, and you just need to have a car that works reliably, because there's so many of the things you guys are fighting. You're fighting exhaustion, you're fighting financial issues, you're fighting new territory, new tracks, you're fighting flying around the entire world to get there, and you just need a car that works. And I think that if you're not driving a super simplistic setup in Pro 2, you're probably fucking up.
Yeah, I think so. I agree. Of course, there's a huge difference between Pro 1 and Pro 2, but I think it should be as well. And as you say, the financial part, the cars, everything is different, but in a good way. It's a good place to develop as a driver and learn all about the media stuff and being at new places. And yeah, I think they're taking good care of us in Pro 2 coming into the FD series. Yeah. So yeah, as you say, it's a difference, but it should be a difference as well.
But we had the pleasure of flying into Atlanta just in the nick of time to see the Pro 2 Top 16, and I was telling everyone I could, because I was so excited, that you guys are driving like Formula Drift Pro was like only 2 or 3 years ago. Like, it's wild to see that, one, Pro has escalated that heavily, but two, when Pro 2 started like 3 years ago, it was pretty rough. It was kind of rough to watch, but the quality level of the driving in Pro 2 now has gone so far, and I could see easily the top 4 or the top 8 people competing at a somewhat competitive level in Pro 1 with the right hardware. I think by and large, the top 16 in Pro 1 is so damn good that it would be a tough battle. But you guys are driving so well, and you're on this tire handicap that kind of puts you in a horsepower handicap. But you guys are doing so good, and it gives me so much hope for the next generation when all these old farts start retiring.
Sounds good.
Agreed.
Makes me believe that we can do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the series is a really good place to develop. And I've seen the past years as well, watching on live stream, trying to find data on the other drivers, of course. And I see that it's going in the right direction with Pro 2 as well, with the live stream on qualifying, the more media coverage. And I think it's a good place to be right now. And yeah, of course, the limited tires are doing a good thing for the economy part of it. We don't need to have 1,000 horsepower, because I think, as you say, the top 16 in Pro, it's a crazy level, and it's all battles are good battles, even in top 32. I think.
Right, especially this round.
To go through to top 16. It's just a crazy drift scene, and it's so fun to watch. And you kind of feel that you have a long way to go when you see the Pro top 16 competition kicks off.
Yeah, I can only imagine what that must look like to a driver that just won Pro 2, and I'm sure you're riding high off of your victory, but then you go out and see these battles like between Kristaps and Forsberg and Dean and Turk and not Kristaps and Forsberg, excuse me, Kristaps and Aasbo and Forsberg and Aasbo, and it's you were an amazing driver, but you see these battles of these guys just going so hard. I can only imagine you've gone up the first step of this very tall ladder, but now now you just saw what the next step looks like.
Yeah, and of course, when you watch it, it's a good thing to be there on Saturday. Watch the race after you're done your race, of course, but it kind of takes up a little bit of the flying high feeling as you say, when you see the top 16 in pro. But it should be like that. They should be on a higher level. The car should be better. So there's obvious difference between the two classes. And I think that's a good thing as well for the crowd to watch and see why they're in pro and why we're in pro 2, to kind of see that, okay, this is the pool 1 guys, that cars are more extreme, the drivers are more extreme, they're doing better battles, and that's the way it should be. But yeah, of course, the tire limit is doing a lot to the speed in the battles, I think. Yeah,
so I want to definitely talk about your battles in your Pro 2 Top 16. But first, real quick, I just have a question that I was thinking about is, in regards to what we just discussed, let's say that you win every other round this year of Pro 2, the next 3 rounds. Would you be comfortable to go to Pro 1 if you had the financial support? Would you just hop right in there, or would you stay in Pro 2 and keep going just to build your brand and build your abilities? What would you do?
I think if we do well or win the series this year, I would definitely try maybe to do Pro 2 and Pro 1 in maybe a few races. So if I could do like 4 races in Pro 2 and attend at Long Beach maybe, and 3 other rounds in Pro as well, just to kind of check where am I at my levels and see how I work with the wider tires, the better drivers, and then at the same time get the practice in Pro 2. So definitely I want to try in Pro 1, but right now I don't feel ready for doing that. I need, as you say, more financial part worked out, and get to know the tracks a little bit better. But definitely I would try at least 1 race in Pro next year if I do well in Pro 2.
Yeah, it seems wise.
The dream must be to meet Aasbo in the Corolla with Chucky.
That would be an ultimate battle. That would be an epic battle.
Destroyed with his old
Aasbo
car.
Facing the ghost of his old car. Man, that would be so cool. But there was
thinking about that a lot, actually. That would be fun.
And we mentioned that before in Orlando. Paco, help me out. Who was Aasbo against? He was against was that Meeks?
Austin Meeks?
Yeah, I think it was Meeks, and the fact that like Meeks was inspired by Aasbo to start driving at this level, and was kind of like Aasbo was someone he looked up to so much. That's cool in that regard to see that, just that aspect of this guy that kind of got him interested in at this level of drifting and going up against him. So I can only imagine the extra essence of that battle, the aura, the absolute aura.
Yeah, that would be the
battle
ultimate battle for me. That would be like the highest highlight ever.
Who's going to win that battle?
There's a good chance we're going to see that someday. I can't imagine it'll be a Corolla and a Supra necessarily and Chucky, but I hope it is. Honestly, I hope it will be.
Or a Supra.
Yeah, maybe it's a new Supra.
New Supra versus old Supra. Who knows? Who's going to win that battle, Ola?
What did you say?
Who's going to win that battle, Ola?
Can't tell you.
It's a secret.
Out. No, I'm not sure, but it would have been fun. Like, no pressure for me because I knew he is the best driver, one of the best drivers in the world, of course, and I looked up to him.
Yeah.
For many years, and he's helped me a lot coming along the way, going in the drifting scene, and of course, going against him would be most fun, of course. But meeting him in top 16 in pro, that would have been great. I'm not sure who's gonna win, but I would have tried my best, of course, and going maybe a little bit too hard in the first corner, of course.
We just got corrected. It was Aasbo against Van Kirk.
Van Kirk, excuse me, my bad. I was just looking at one of the rookies. My bad.
And speaking of real quick on the comments on Super Chat, Chris Nelson on YouTube, he's asking Ola to who he marry, fucking kill from the three of us.
MFK.
MFK moment.
So let's get that one out of the way.
All right, so I don't know if you played this game before, Ola.
I never actually.
So you've heard on the show, I imagine, marry, fuck, kill between Paco, Corey, and I. Most people choose marry for me. I don't know if I'm mad.
Don't try to sway him, Sam.
Just
you married Corey, already thrown out there. Right.
Yeah.
I like his hat too. Yeah.
Thanks, Ola. I appreciate it. I would treat you well, and I'd cook you the best the best egg salad sandwich you've ever ate.
Looking forward.
Yeah.
And I like her hair. So
All right, fuck or kill. Who's it gonna be?
Oh.
But
with that knife, I'm gonna kill
Yeah.
you, man.
you're gonna
You
kill me?
Sam, thank God. Yeah.
You
At
try,
least
dude.
try. You got a bigger knife than me.
Thank God. I'm happy for that.
I'm getting out of the way.
And so Paco, guess what, buddy?
I'm the one who's getting
You're gonna
it.
be playing the bass flute all the way to bed.
The Norway
Yeah.
The
The
Norwegian
Norwegian
bass
bass
flute.
flute.
Yeah.
little bass flute bedtime story. All right, cool.
It's getting scary.
All right, so we are already an hour into the show, and we've barely even talked about this round, which blows my mind because we enjoyed talking to you about all this good stuff. But let's talk about your path to victory in the FD Atlanta Top 16. You start out against Trenton Beecham. How did that battle go? Tell us about that battle.
Yeah, coming into the battle, we hadn't too much data on Beecham. I watched him last year as well, but I know he's a good driver. But I felt we had a lot of speed in the car, so I was planning to do close to 100% lead run first, and then trying to stay as close as possible, of course, in the chase run. But I wasn't able to follow him as close as I was expecting. But yeah, overall it was a pretty clean, even matchup. We were better on the lead run, and that took us to top 8. But overall, it was a clean battle, and yeah, felt good going through the top 8.
Nothing out of the ordinary there. That was your first in competition tandem battle at Atlanta. What was Atlanta like for you to drive as a track? It's quite a crazy way to. Well, this isn't your first Pro 2 round, I guess.
Last year it was really difficult coming in there first time because I didn't know it was so steep going up and going down as well. Last year was lacking a lot of power, so I couldn't fill all the zones. This year I had a better first entry to the first corner. I was able to flick it, the fade entry, get a much more speed into the first and second corner. But I wasn't able to fill the outer zone 2 this year as well because I think on practice I need to push and go off the track just to see where the limits are.
Yeah.
So overall I think I did a lot better this year, but I still have some issues with the track in the keyhole. It's really good, really difficult because it's going up and down, as I said.
Might as well discuss in the when we talk about the pro battles. The outer zone 2 was the deal breaker. It was a decision maker for the entire weekend. And when you think about the technicality of driving up that hill, it's I don't know. I don't want to say it's the longest time at angle because like there's Seattle and there's the other long sweepers like in Texas, but you're at this kind of like long straight angle going up the hill there for so long, and then you have to find that exact deceleration point and cut the car. It's just I feel like it's an awkward way to drive, right? Going up the hill for that super long left-hander.
Yeah, it kind of feels like you want to go off throttle so many times, and you just had to tell yourself and keep your foot down and just 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and then go off. And then you actually go off, but it's too early anyway, so it kind of feels strange because it's going so fast into a corner you can't see the entry on, and it's a different track, and of course it's a long way up there up the hill.
Mm-hmm.
So
I wonder,
it's not looking that difficult, I think, watching the live stream, but in real life it was a challenge.
Yeah, and I don't think you really realize too, just because of the angle the cameras are positioned, but how much of an actual slope that is to climb. Like you really get the feel of it when you're riding in a car like Paco and I have had the pleasure of doing in Forsberg's La Flama Blanca de Negra at Grid Life. But like that is quite a it's quite a slope. Like it's got a lot of incline going up that hill. I wonder how much that actually negates your car's power because you're climbing quite a ways.
You kind of feel the car working really hard up the hill, but when you kind of turn around in the keyhole, then you actually feel how steep it is going down because the car is always working itself down the hill, and it's so hard to keep stay close to the inside clip in the keyhole, and that's when you really feel that okay, it's that steep, and kind of takes you out and want to drag you away from the clipping point.
Yeah,
but definitely a challenging track.
All right, so let's talk about your top 8 battle. Andy Haley, friend of the show, BMW E30. He's got a beautiful big dog. How'd that battle go?
Yeah, a really good driver, and it was exciting. We were giving each other thumbs up before the battle. We agreed to put on a good show, and it kind of felt good going into a battle against him. We had a decent lead run, and in the chase run, he was going off track in outside zone 2. over pushed there, and I saw a gap and took it and went on the inside. And he was kind enough to not go in on me there because I'm not sure how that would have played out. But he stayed out there, and he told me that, okay, the battle was lost. I wasn't able to go in there and just smash your door. So it was a clean battle, and unfortunately he went off up there because I think we were able to stay close to him during the rest of the track. And of course, he's a good driver with a fast, small car.
Yeah.
So
I still feel like that car is hard to handle, though, even though he's got years of experience in it now and he's looking better than he ever has been. Corey, you've obviously never drifted your E30, have you?
No, yeah. That the way the suspension is on that car factory is just it's limited on to adjustability unless you make some pretty substantial changes to the suspension.
Andy has made like custom trailing arms because that's one of the things. It has trailing arm suspension, so it's kind of like a pretty old school stuff. He made his own custom trailing arms that allow him to gain a little bit more camber on the rear. So it seems like he's still kind of like dialing it up. I mean, this is his first race with this setup, but I mean, we've seen that car performing pretty good on Pro. Like that's
I reckon he's going to be a driver to go to the one of the top spots.
Yeah, he's going to make it on the podium before the year is done. I can already see it, but yeah, it's awesome that you're able to best him.
Yeah, I think he's going to get his license back for sure.
All right, then we had Travis Reeder, who's someone whose name we've seen a couple times now. He's been driving very well. What was that battle like?
Yeah, I knew going into the battles with him, as he's a good driver, and I was concerned he was going to be really fast. And Dan told me on the radio that you got to be on him from the first second because he's going fast. And we're able to stay pretty close, but not close enough. I felt it wasn't close enough, but we maintained the angle and we maintained the speed, the same speed. So it felt after standing up there waiting for the verdict, after the lead run and chase run, I wasn't sure who was going to take it, but he did some mistakes I didn't see when I was leading. That kind of made a decision, but I was not sure. I thought that was our weekend. Our weekend was done right there and then.
Yeah.
Because I have huge respect for him and all the other drivers, but he's one of the guys that can really win the championship as well.
Definitely.
So, yeah, I wasn't sure.
Which, by the way, something
good when,
something interesting for some people who don't know. Rad Dan was spotting for you, right?
Yeah, Rad Dan is spotting for me. He's running up for his practice.
Was that Tim?
I said I didn't know that. That's cool. I saw Dan up there in the spotters tower, but I didn't put it together that he was spotting for
because you keep your car at his shop. Is that correct?
Yeah, I keep the car at his shop and he's transporting it around. So he's bringing it now. It's in Jersey and yeah, he's bringing it around.
Team I just realized that makes the battle between you and Dylan in the finals. The little baby boy Dylan Hughes. So Dylan is having Forsberg spot for him. You had Radical Daniel spotting for you, all friends in all circles, but it's just such a cool final battle that you have two very skilled pro drivers spotting for two younger guns in this.
It's really fun actually. I saw them standing next to each other in the spotter towers, and
yeah,
Dan told me he wasn't too happy when we took Dylan out at the end.
Yeah, I mean,
Forsberg is a good guy. I talked to him when we were working on the car in February as well, and he's a really down to earth, good guy, Chris Forsberg, and
yeah,
it's fun to get to know him a little better. So it's fun having them up there in the spotter tower together, side by side.
Yeah, but let's get into that battle between you and Dylan. A little baby boy, little dumpling baby. Hey Dylan, how you doing, baby? How you doing, baby?
How you doing, Dylan?
He took himself out. I felt like just from watching the battle from the sidelines, it was going to be a one more time or maybe even a Dylan victory, but he messed up that last corner. You guys both drove like crazy. Like it was.
Yeah, I think
it was one of the better battles of the entire weekend, even compared to like the pro battles.
I think he had me actually. Before the last, when he was going over the grass, I think he had me, and we had a good lead run. I think that was maybe one of the best lead runs. I was feeling the other zone 2 much better than the previous battles. So I was I was feeling good after the lead run, and the follow run, I did better and better, but still Dylan had me up until that point. He made a mistake and went off track in the last corner. So, I got lucky. And next time I got to be more on it, I think, to beat him because he's always saying it out there. And He's one of the best chase drivers in the Pro 2 league, I think.
You should have seen Forsberg back at the hotel. He was beating the fuck out of him.
Oh yeah, with a belt,
And
and
you
a
weren't
stick.
helping him?
It was uncomfortable, like, you know, where us all like back hanging out. And we're like, oh, hey, like, really good job, Dylan. Really good job, second place. And Forsberg, he just like, he's fuming. He grabs Dylan by the collar, slams him against the ground, starts punching him right in the eyes and the mouth and the neck. And Dylan's like, I'm so sorry, I made you so upset. And then Forsberg just spits in his eye.
Oh yeah, it goes for the infector.
Typical
Yeah. So, anyways,
Forsberg.
Dylan's really good because he's got a good teacher.
Oh, yeah. I get that now. I didn't know, but no, I won't remember ever.
I mean, I imagine Radical Daniel has a similar regimen for you. Like Radical Daniel has a rope hanging from the roof of his garage, and you climb up the rope. And I've seen him. He actually lights the bottom of the rope on fire.
Yeah,
You have to climb it.
right to the point when you're starting at the bottom. He lights it up. He puts more and more E85 on it. And you gotta stay up there all the way.
So you guys have really hard. You got hard teachers, but that's kind of what makes you guys so good, I think.
I think they're helping us a lot, yeah.
Cool.
In the right way, yeah. As you told me right now, yeah, I understand it's pretty hard. It's rough.
All right, so we're obviously going to do Instagram questions and fan questions, YouTube, Facebook, you name it. Of course, the YouTube super questions. If you guys want to get yours to the top, you have to give us $500 and we'll do it. or really $1, whatever. We're easy. But let's talk about Pro, because we haven't talked about that yet on this episode, and we just saw a very wild, very contentious Pro round. I don't know what to call it at this point.
I thought it was
But
great.
it's an exciting round regardless. And you watched it, Ola, so feel free to join in as another guest host, we can say here. Guys, do you guys have a bracket up or something just so we can go down some of the battles and talk about it?
I have it right here.
Boom.
Boom.
Ola, if you want to pull one up as well so you can be
All right.
on point with us.
Ola, I'm going to need you to do a recap of one of the hardest battles we saw on Top 32. Justin Pollack versus Byron.
Versus Byron?
Yeah, Byron almost took him.
That was crazy.
That was crazy.
JTP is
That's
known,
one word.
so JTP, and I feel like this is an ongoing theme in this show, is that I've never like hated a pro driver by any means, but JTP was someone that I kind of thought like, JTP was not one of my favorite drivers. I knew he had beef with Vaughn, whose team I was on for years and got me kind of like fully into the sport. Like JTP was never one of my favorite drivers, and he is now one of my favorite drivers because after talking to him on our show, he's an awesome guy. But he went into the kitty litter on a buy run, and it was awesome because he also is known for reverse entries and crazy shit at Atlanta. And he had a buy run. He qualified first because he was driving like a absolute monster, but he went for one of those reverse entries and went a little bit too hard and went to the kitty litter. First battle of top 32, JTP versus Byron, right into the kitty litter. It was beautiful.
Well, thanks, Ola, for the review. That was pretty great.
Yep.
Ola,
like
what
that?
did you think? Sorry, I got
He said it was crazy. Thanks, Sam. He goes, "Thank you, Sam. I appreciate your time."
It was fun.
Yep. See? Thanks, Ola.
Jacob.
Well,
That's the right way to recap a top 32 battle, isn't it?
Yeah, no, that's
Two words,
right.
two short
it was
words.
good. Well, let's get into an actual battle because I don't know if you saw these one. Kaufman versus Gucci.
Paco didn't, because during the halftime show, Paco said that Matt Kaufman was going to win the round.
And he did. Well, he did won the race, but he did a
No.
Well, but then Gucci's team,
Yeah.
they saw somebody's footage from somebody who was up in the hill, and it seems like Kaufman jumped the light. So they made a what do you call it?
A protest.
A protest.
They protested through our coworker now, Mr. Robert Nishidi, and the protest was valid,
Yeah.
and they re-ran.
They rerun on
So-
top 16, and then went one more time. So do you saw that
Yeah.
one more time battle, Ola?
Yeah, I saw it. I was in an insane battle, and I know as a driver, the pressure you get when you do one more time and you do another one more time, like when you were waiting for the protest came in and you're kind of done with all the emotions going through to top 16, and then you got to start all over. And there was some crazy driving right there, and until someone of them made a mistake, and that's seems to always happen when you get that pressure on you doing the battles on and on again. So great driving from both of them, but yeah, it was exciting as a spectator to watch, but I don't think the drivers were too happy about it.
Yeah, but they drove like crazy, and
they drove like crazy.
It was a weird situation that we've actually seen before, where this top 32 battle gets carried over into the top 16, and they both drove like it was the finals because they both had something to prove. Matt Kaufman had to prove that his win wasn't a fluke, and Gucci had to prove now that he got a second chance that he could drive, like it was the finals, and I forget exactly what transpired to give Gucci the win, but I remember it was a very well-deserved win. I mean, it was a wild battle.
Yeah, it was.
And then a very, very notable battle, and mostly because of the great driving from Kyle Mohan versus Peter Dinsick.
Yeah, Mohan, one of the nicest guys, him and his wife out there. They're awesome driver. He's an awesome driver, and he's been in the sport for a very long time, but not the most successful driver. And he drove... If he drove that way against almost anyone else out there, he would have beat them, I think.
Oh yeah,
but
I mean, he got a pretty hard bracket right there because he went against Peter, which obviously right now he's so hot right now.
He's so hot right now.
So hot right now.
Oh, Peter, by the way, made his first Instagram post today.
That's right.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
Do you think we had something to do with that, boys? Because we grilled him on it last week on our show. I mean, I don't want to say that we are the direct cause of
totally
Peter
our fault.
making his first Instagram post, but
absolutely, it was because of us.
You know what? I'm gonna follow him right now. I'm so proud. I'm so proud of that little boy.
But what do you think of Kyle, Ola?
I think it did really well. It was exciting to watch. He was throwing it all out there from the first corner, and actually, I was a little bit surprised about Wieszek struggling against him because I know how good of a driver he is and a good chase driver as well. So, but kudos to Mohan, he was doing really well, and that car sounds.
They went
amazing.
One more time, so I mean, there was like a slight chance of Mohan taking him. That would be pretty impressive, of course. Hopefully, we'll have Kyle on the show pretty soon.
Yeah, we definitely got to talk to him again, and like we mentioned earlier with Andy Haley, I feel like he's got one of those cars that's just hard to wrangle in. So he's got this tiny Miata, and it's
a little square.
Even strong drivers like Mad Moik, he had trouble keeping his Miata reeled in, but yeah, he did one of the best follows and leads I've ever seen him do, which is cool.
Yep.
Going on the list, we don't want to mention every battle.
No. Just like definitely the ones worth mentioning.
Yeah.
Forrest Wang versus Jeff Jones.
Well, before we get there, though, Gittin Turk, it's always crazy to see Drift Alliance bros, OG drifters in top 32, and Gittin has had tough luck this year in that he hasn't made it past 32. Is it at all, or did he make it to top 16?
I don't think
he did once. He did in Long Beach, I believe. But he, for being someone that has finished like in the top 5 almost consistently for a very long time, is not up there right now, and it's a bummer to see him not doing well just because I left his team this year. So I'm sorry I left Vaughn. I regret it. I wish I could take it all back and just, if I could come back and you'd promise to win an event.
It's your fault, Sam.
Yep, see what happens.
But he went against Turk, and it was a good, awesome battle, and it was good to see Vaughn driving like classic Vaughn, but Turk just threw it out there a little harder. Then we had Blush and Lawrence. We're gonna get to Blush in a little bit because Blush won the event and he was driving like an asshole, a beautiful asshole. But we had
Jeff Jones and Forrest Wang.
Jeff Jones and Forrest Wang, which was our
one more time twice.
One more time twice, 5 total runs, I believe. It was our next entire battle of the event during our AM Intakes halftime show. And we've never seen Jeff Jones drive like this. And that was a beautiful thing because we're big fans of Jeff and his continued spirit in the sport. And he drove like a madman.
Yep. Yeah, he was. It's a funny thing. We were watching Pro 2, and he was just like literally just like lounging on the floor, like super chill. Like, hey, dude, how you doing? How you feeling for tomorrow? He's like, yeah, I'm happy, I'm fine. Like, he just seems like he's in a total different zone.
Yeah, he seemed so focused and so collected, which not to say that he wasn't in the past, but he seemed different. He seemed very calm, very cool, and his head was on.
Car
and,
looks great,
you know,
and yeah.
he told us after when we were watching Top 16 with him. It's always fun when the drivers that have been knocked out come and hang out and watch Top 16 with the rest of us. He told me that when he does eventually get in the podium, and I assured him that he will before this world ends in Ragnarok, he's going to bring his Edelbrock supercharger on the podium.
That'd be
He's gonna actually rip it off the car and just take it up with him.
Yeah, he's actually hired an extra team member to take that Edelbrock supercharger right off the car and right onto the podium. Podium.
I can't wait for that.
But yeah, so it went one more time, multiple times. Forrest Wang, one of the best drivers in the sport, and Jeff Jones hung with him and made it a very difficult decision. And I honestly thought that Jeff may have had it, but the judges chose one more time again, and then Jeff's car broke. He broke a belt for the supercharger, I believe, and
His
he called
water
five,
pump,
but
his water pump pulley exploded.
That's right.
oh, was it?
Yeah, and it blew pretty much everything. That's why they were like just like standing in front of the car with the
Yeah,
clock
they called
going.
five, but they just stood in front of the car.
It's just like
They weren't
looking
even
at it,
looking.
see if it fixes itself.
Oh, almost done, boys.
All right, so that was our favorite battle of 32. Jeff Jones will definitely be making waves in his 350Z throughout the year, or 370Z.
70.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah, it's
Am
a
I-
70.
Yeah, okay. And then we had the Battle of the Vets, which we had hoped to see all season. It happened earlier than later, thankfully, but we saw Dirk Diggler, and Matty Fieldcakes out there.
Yeah.
Dude, what about Matt Field in practice on Thursday?
That was so
He went
hard.
into the wall hard, and Ola, you can probably attest to this. It's super hard to see coming around that last corner up the hill, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
kind of almost zero vision going out the last corner, and you can't even see the wall on the right side trying to get some reference points. So I understand that he took the wall there. It's really happening really fast, and I'm glad I was not one of them this weekend. But yeah, definitely it's hard to see around there, and you kind of go in on just instinct around the last corner. So he took it pretty hard, and I was surprised that he got back and the car worked that well after. He was working pretty hard that night, I think.
And the battle was awesome just because it was two new race cars. You know, Corvettes are pretty much race cars from the factory, so it was very exciting to see.
Battle.
All-American battle. These two race cars going against each other. Dirk drove very well, but Matt Field, I think, is just a little bit more advanced of a driver, a little bit maybe more advanced of a car. I don't know the specifics on the car builds, but Matt Field had a decisive victory. Nonetheless, it was really fun to see Dirk drive so well and a fun battle all around.
I actually just sent Big Balls the clip of the incident of Field and Forrest when Field went into the wall. So let's see, Big Balls can pull that up for you live.
Yeah, it
streamers.
looked like a hard hit, and we saw Matt was doing a Formula Drift Instagram takeover, and he saw him just moments before, super tired, and saying like, we've had issues, but me and the team have been working on it. We're just ready to get out there and start driving.
So here it is.
Let's
This
watch real
happens.
quick.
So, top 32.
Like nothing
With some
happened.
Technical difficulties. Nothing happened though. Maybe for you guys that are just listening, not live, this is just going to be a blank of time that just disappeared from when we were here, and then we're gone, and then we're back again. But anyways, top 32. We're talking about the Corvettes battling. They battled. Matt Field won. What up? All right. Then we had
Corvettes.
Next battle.
next battles. All right, Forsberg and Taylor Hull. That was sweet. He didn't have enough curb feelers on his car, but we're
Yeah.
pumped to see Taylor Hull's car work well, and he battled Forsberg as good as one could hope to battle Forsberg. So that was an exciting battle.
That's awesome. Next battle.
Michael S. and Dean Carney. It was funny because they both went off, and one of our content creators, who was that, Paco?
I think it was Aaron Osebi.
Yeah, they got a great photo of the both sides of the battle with one of the drivers just sitting in the kitty lit. It was lit, fam.
And the kid lit.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it's called now?
Yeah.
Let's see.
All right.
Brian, can you just like show this real quick? See if it
The
focuses.
photo. Oh yeah, it's out of focus.
they're
You gotta
both-
focus out.
Very out of
Further-
focus, but
The screen.
yeah.
Yeah, check that up. Check that photo out on
Yeah,
the
go on,
Maximum
go on our
Drift
Instagram. You'll be able to check it out, but it's kind of weird.
What a complete role reversal.
Let's talk about top 16, guys. Okay?
All right.
Is that cool with you?
Yes. Ola, you good with that?
Cool.
Huh?
You're good with that?
Can you say that again?
Are you good?
Slow your words down, Paco.
Are you good with us talking about top 16 now with you?
Yeah, of course.
Perfect.
All right, Ola, calm down, dude.
Dude, he's wild. He's wilding right now.
All right, thank you.
Is that
right.
success? Is that first spot?
Paco.
Yes. JTP versus not Kaufman.
Yeah, what? I'm trying to remember that battle. I can't remember that
JTP.
battle.
It didn't happen because he went JTP versus Gucci.
It was JTP versus Goosh.
Yeah, because
and
Gucci
went on to win. He went on to beat JTP.
Gucci, like, it was definitely like, like his victory. He came back with a vengeance, and it was like, dude, again, it's like I think everybody's looking so good this time.
Right.
Yeah, everyone was really throwing it down like crazy. Then we had Odie versus a little Piotr, and Piotr came out on top. We then had Dean and Turk, and this is where some of the judging has me confused, and not so much to the point where I think they made the wrong calls based on the rules that they have. I think that they made the right calls based on the rules they have. But I kind of feel like Turk beat Dean in that first battle when they said one more time. So they ruled the first half of the battle one more time. Oh, not the first half, excuse me. The first run up against each other. They ruled it one more time. I kind of felt like Turk beat him. Like, I watched the runs again just before we went live here on the show. And full disclosure, Turk is one of my buds, but I hate that. I hate that this is the battle that I have to start with. In that, people would say, oh, Sam likes Turk and he thinks he should win. No, I like Dean a lot too. I think Dean's one of the best drivers out there, obviously, and he rips. And Dean, even after the fact, said that he wasn't sure that he beat Turk. But the judges ruled one more time after that battle. I think in the one more time battle, Dean beat Turk decisively, but I don't think it should have gone one more time necessarily.
I mean, I talked. I think we all did talk to the judges, and I mean, they explained why, and like, okay, yeah, you guys are right. But I think one of the problems with Atlanta is it being such a fast track, but at the same time, it's kind of hard to follow the line. So if they're slightly off the line, obviously the judges are looking at the line a lot, and that means that gives like a lot of that has a lot of weight, other than how awesome the whole thing looks. So I don't know. Like, I've seen, for example, it was similar to what happened with between Aasbo and who was that? Aasbo and Forsberg. Yeah, like a lot of people actually thought it was Forsberg. It was no, wait.
What also, I mean, people also had the issue with Aasbo and Chelsea. I just feel like there were a lot of battles that, and granted, the show was very entertaining, and Kristaps is going to beat everyone regardless. I think Kristaps is going to win no matter what. But still, it was. I don't know. Like, I know the judges had mentioned in the drivers' meeting, from what we know, just heard from other drivers, is that they really want to see Outer Zone 2 filled. Ola, you could probably tell us. The judges put extreme exaggeration on fill Outer Zone 2, right?
Yeah, they want us to, of course, put on a good show, but staying outside Zone 2 was a crucial point. And then going downhill again, staying close to the inner clip there as well. So there were some clear things we needed to follow that they were putting a lot of weight on. So outside Zone 2, of course, and mimicking the angle when we were following as a chase car. So, and
that was the other thing is that it kind of is. That's what I'm saying, is that I don't think our boys in the judges tower with the hardest job at FD, I don't think they were wrong based off of the rules that were made, but I feel like it might be wrong for the bigger picture, which is I feel like strange for me to say, because I've always been like a heavy advocate of the judging in Formula Drift, and saying that it's the best thing possible in a rough situation. I think that they've always done the best they could with what they had, but I'm not sure right now, because I feel like there was these battles where the fans, and myself included, were like, oh, this one is a victory for so-and-so. And then it didn't go that way based on these technicalities, because the judges wanted to see this outer zone filled, and they wanted to see the same chase angle rather than a tight proximity. So, like in this case, I feel like Turk had a better follow, but it was at maybe a less aggressive angle. And we saw that multiple times throughout the weekend with maybe Forsberg and Aasbo, and maybe Chelsea and Aasbo, and maybe Jones and Wang, and maybe Blush and Wang, which is a whole other thing. But I feel like there was some discrepancy between the visual show that the fans were seeing and enjoying and what the actual calls were.
If you think about it, for example, in Forsberg versus Aasbo, they had a split decision.
Right, but that also happened in the second run with Dean and Turk as well.
They had split decisions too?
Is that Andy Yen went Turk and the other two went Dean.
Yeah.
And in Forsberg and Aasbo, Andy Yen went Forsberg and the other two went Aasbo.
Yeah. So
I think overall, compared to what they said on the drivers' meeting about the driving, how they wanted us to drive, I think that most of the decisions were pretty right when I knew how they were putting their weight on the different points at the track as a lead driver and the chase driver. So overall, in total, I think they made the right decisions.
Yeah, they made the right decisions based off of the rules they established, but I'm not sure that those rules are the right ones. Is what I'm saying is that, as the audience watching, the excitement and the energy of these battles was not necessarily what the calls were. And I think a perfect example of this is Blush and Wang that went to one more time. So the first one more time was justified entirely, I think, because they both zeroed out, because they both made mistakes. The second one more time, I feel like Blush dominated the battle, and his entire deficit, I think, was almost entirely based off the fact that he went 2 front wheels off in the midsection of the track while following Wang. And he was worse than Wang in this one section of his follow, but dominated Wang, I think, in every other... It's a funny thing to say, dominated Wang. I'm sorry. He dominated Wang every other aspect of this battle in lead and in chase, but it still went one more time again. And I know that the judges have a system set up that works most of the time very well and is fair most of the time, I believe, but I just felt like there was something off in this situation. Like, I don't think that should have gone one more time. And not only did it go one more time, but I forget which judge it was, but Andy. Yeah, I have my notes here. Andy went Wang after that battle. It wasn't even one more time for everyone. I think it was one more time for Ryan and Brian.
So what you're saying is more of the emotional response to the run versus the technical response to the runs.
Yes,
significantly
and I think
different. And
by and large, the emotional response has been in line with most battles, but there's something off on this round.
And I think an example would be, in that case, let's say Blush had a better outer zone, but Forrest had a better tandem. But since that outer zone was more important than the proximity in that tandem that round, even though it's more exciting to watch, that zone filling was more important in that particular. Yeah. So that's where that emotion versus technicalities come into play. For example, like that is when you judge a zone harder than the actual proximity or another factor against another. And I think that's where the kind of disconnect was. Is there was something like that the run itself, he may not have had the best lead run, but that chase run was so over the top that the audience responded in a certain way, but it's still deferred.
But in this case, in the Blush versus Wang, and again, I don't want to make it seem like
I'm
beating the Wang here. I don't want to beat the Wang in front of you guys because he drove excellently all weekend and he was an awesome driver. But I feel like Blush, who both Corey and I called winning the event early on, no big deal, because he was driving so crazily. Like, we all knew that Blush was going to win this eventually, I think, if his car didn't explode. But this battle was just kind of weird to watch because it, from a spectator standpoint on the sidelines, seemed like a very obvious hardcore Blush win because he was pulling away. It was almost like an inactive chase when Forrest was behind him, and Blush was all over him behind him. Granted, it might have been like a sloppy-ish, like he was diving in and falling back and diving in and falling back and all over the track at some points when he went off. But as far as the excitement of watching a drift battle is concerned, and from what a spectator that didn't know the sport saw, like, Blush was dominant. But not only did it go one more time, but Andy went for Wang, which, like, I'd love to get clarification further from them. I'm sure that they're going to text me tomorrow saying, fuck you, Sam.
Yep,
but
which I hope.
I don't know. I don't know, man. Wait, do you guys have any other thoughts on that battle before I move on? I know that...
No, and you know what's funny? Some of the other drivers are like, oh, we don't want to go down this technical path again, this technical judging path. You know, like these drivers, from the drivers that we have talked to, they want that emotional response from the run and have that kind of as like the decision maker in some degree, with a very few fine technical rules in there. But it's like, oh, if we get back to the point where it was like, you blow a cone over with your fart and then it's an automatic 0. They don't want to go back to that point because I think we've grown so much.
I'm saying the opposite though. I'm saying that we need to get further away from that.
Oh yeah. No, that's what I'm saying is the drivers are worried to go back to that 2012 era where it's you drop a tire, that's 25 points off. You drop 2 tires off, that's a 0. You touch a cone.
Because that is the only way that I can see that Andy could have voted for Wang in that situation.
It's purely based off
Is
technicalities.
because Kristaps did drop 2 tires, I think, off into the front of the dirt there. But other than that little issue, he seemed dominant everywhere else. And I'm sure we'll get clarification from our boys here shortly. But I don't know, man. That was weird. I do want to talk about the rest of the battles, but I think we have to do it without Ola because Ola's got to get to work in a few minutes.
Which, by the way, props to him because he's calling us it was like 5 a.m.
Norway time
in Norway.
Got up early. That's fine.
Are you still? You're still on jet lag.
Yeah, I am.
So we're going to talk about the rest of the battles. We're going to kind of get out of order here because we had a technical difficulty with Paco's computer exploding. Let's go to the Instagram, Facebook, YouTube questions for Ola here so we can send him off to go sell some hot rides.
Ooh, you want to start with a very tough question?
Yeah, I'll start with it then. Macho Man Randy Sanchez, is it true that cat food is the currency of the future?
Yeah, I think so. Definitely.
Yeah,
that was a tough question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I have one that maybe it's not as tough, but it's more of a challenging question. This is from username Fredric Aasbo.
Aasbo.
Aasbo. Who's a better rapper, you or Joachim Wagard?
Ooh.
That's a hard one. He's doing good. He's actually getting his own show at Gapville this year.
His own rap show?
Radio Jambo thing. So Wagard is definitely doing a good job there. He's better at the moment.
So you can rap?
Do you have some flows? Can you rap?
Drop some bars.
It's too early. I need a few beers or Jaeger shots.
Yeah.
All right, so at Gottable, you and I are going to have a flow off, my friend.
It's all about the karaoke rap show thing on the evenings, right? So
we do some karaoke
on the
every
show
now and
there
then.
If you get there one time.
Deal. Let's do her.
It's happening. Okay. It's on. It's on.
It's happening.
Username Nick O'Neill. When will you be growing a mullet? I think it's because you're like in the Supra with
you're a prodigy of Radical Daniel. Radical Daniel's got the mullet. Is that part of his? Is that part of his training? Is to grow a mullet?
He got my mechanic to do it, so we were thinking one per team. That's enough.
That's enough mullets. Too much partying.
So, yeah.
All right, here's one for you. This is from Browns and Blues. Who do you think is your biggest competition in Pro 2? And if you qualify for Pro next year, will you leave Pro 2 and make the jump?
I definitely think there's a lot of good drivers up there, but Dylan, Travis, and Josh Robinson are people that are seen last year doing well. Of course, they're in the game. Haley, we have a few other drivers coming up newer this year. But of course, Dylan, Travis, and Josh are one of the best contenders out there. They have good cars and they're good drivers, definitely. So, yeah.
Yeah, and we answered the pro question earlier.
Yeah. Like I said, I'll definitely try 1 or 2 races in Pro 1 next year if I do well this year, and if I can get the car a little bit better, of course, the next year. But it's all about the financial part with sponsors and partners as well. So, yeah, definitely I will try 1 race in Pro 1.
This is a very important question from XSV219. How do you say hello in Spanish?
Hola. I just said hola.
All right, here you go.
I have one quick right here from Paul Velichkov. Why does he speak such good English? Aasbo as well, and Norwegians in general.
Oh, thank you. I'm not sure. Just trying, listening to you, copying you guys. No,
there's something about Norwegians. Like, you guys must get really good schooling in the King's English when you're young, right? Because both you and Freddie both speak English very eloquently.
I think it's the Norwegian
Norway, it's all about
accent.
American TV. We watch a lot of American talk shows, comedies.
Yeah, like Ernest Goes to Camp, Total Recall.
Ernest Goes to Jail.
What shows were you raised on, Ola?
What? At school?
Yeah, no. What
shows?
what shows the term? Like, what were you raised on? Like, yeah, what would you watch after you got home from school as a kid? Like, what would you watch late at night when you were a teenager? Like, what were your TV shows that kind of shaped you as you grew up?
MacGyver.
MacGyver.
Yeah, of course.
My man, right there.
What else? What else got you when you were?
That's it. That's all you need.
Yeah, that's all I need.
Yeah,
MacGyver
look at the
was,
man. Look at the
a
man
whole
he is
group
right now. Because of MacGyver.
MacGyver. That's
Yep.
why. Yeah.
Exactly.
We have all the shows. Definitely.
That makes a lot of sense, Paco. That really does. That you watch.
He actually, if you don't know, like Ola fixed his car with a paper clip and a piece of.
Well, I was gonna
piece
say
of tape.
that's MacGyver's the same theory they implement in all your builds.
Yeah.
That's why I have the secret pocket on my driver's suit. They have the little
Exactly.
knife there. With all the tools.
MacGyverism.
What? You got a secret pocket?
Yeah. You don't know what. You don't want to know where.
No,
We'll figure it
I
out
think we
sometime.
kind of want to.
All right, here's an interesting question. It's from Curtis Kronos. How does the American Pro 2 rank stack up against the European Pro-Am series you've competed in previously?
I think the level in Pro 2 definitely this year is at the same level, even a bit higher than the series here up in Scandinavia. But Drift Master series and the Drift All-Star series I've been driven before is maybe somewhere in between Pro 2 and Pro 1 in the US. But yeah, the Europeans are really good, and the Irish and the British drifting scene, and of course the Drift Masters in Poland is a really good series, and the EDC and the Russians, of course, are good. So it's hard to compare, but I think there's some in between Pro 1 and Pro 2, most of the series. Level is pretty high, and the level of the cars and drivers in total are really good over here. But it's hard to compare.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a common question we have. It's tough for us to really understand how good all you Europeans are until you send over Peter and James and then kick all of our buns.
No, they're good. They're competed for many years, and Vishekos, of course, is a really talented driver, and he's been driving for many years in the top series. So I knew he was going to do good when he got over in FD.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely cool to see drivers like Christophs and you and Aasbo and Peter and Dean, like Japan obviously created drifting, and America has popularized kind of this commercial big Formula Drift way of drifting, but then you Europeans have come over and have been very dominant lately in the uppermost level skill of drifting, which is very fun to watch.
Yeah, it's really fun to be able to come over and try to compete against you guys in the US as well, because you never know until you get there how the level is. You can watch all you want, live streams, the videos, everything, but to actually be there and try the tracks for yourself and go against these guys is definitely a challenge, because the driving style is pretty similar, but the tracks are different than back home. So overall, it's not the easiest part to adapt to the US drifting scene, but yeah, Europeans are doing pretty good.
Definitely.
All right, here's a question for you. This is from Drop a Gear 7 on Instagram. He asked, what makes a Skyline better than a Supra? Also, if you had to choose between a Skyline and a Supra, what color would your Skyline be?
He seems very adamant about Skylines.
If it had to be a Skyline, it had to be a R34 GTR, the gray one, the dark gray, of course. I like that car really much, but the reason why I would choose a Supra overall anyways, it's because of the real reliability. The cars are good, they're well built, and I think they're overall better than the Skyline. Maybe the driving on the streets with a souped-up Skyline is better, but the Supra it's better built, I think.
Yeah, because you guys, a Skyline R34 is I would say much more coveted car than the Supra in America, just because we couldn't get one. But can you get like an R34 as easy as you can get a Supra in Norway?
No, not that easy, but they're more expensive over here, the Skylines. Yeah. But you can definitely get one on plates.
Jealous.
Nice. Okay, for the next question, you're going to need to have a calculator in hand.
And one of the last he's got to get out of here.
Yeah, unless you're very good with doing math in your head. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Gerald Hernandez. How many Supras would Rad Dan if Rad Dan could Rad Dan a Supra?
Very good question.
Kind of fell off on the first one there.
So I would say what number would come to mind for you?
How many Supras?
Mm-hmm. If Rad Dan could Rad Dan.
If Radan could Radan a Supra.
I'm not sure. I'm too tired this morning.
Oh no. Well,
Okay,
I think
2.
what did you say? 55. Yeah, 55. You're right.
Okay,
you win.
54. 54.
54. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I can see that. All right. Anyone you want to talk to or thank or say anything before you get to work there?
Yeah, thank you guys for having me on the show. Of course, it's a pleasure. It's fun to. I always watch the show, and it's fun to be on there.
Well,
So
congratulations, man.
definitely be back if you want me back.
Absolutely. We'll talk to you again very soon. Congratulations on your win. It was a great victory, and we can't wait to see you making waves in Chucky for the rest of the Pro 2 year.
Thank you, guys.
And we can't wait to see you beat Corey. Corey's just going to he's going to just drive right into the kitty litter next time.
He's got a QJ now. I'm starting to get scared. And yeah, if he's
you
wearing
you just gave him all those tips.
And the chicken wing wrapping. I mean, it's going to be hard following if there's a boneless wing. There's a barbecue. It's going to be hard. Yeah.
Or you're going to follow him much better because you're going to see this delicious boneless wing on the side of his car and you're going to try to reach out and grab it.
I can't wait.
Yeah,
that's a technique.
And in the left corners, I'm on the right side, so I can actually touch him, following him. Yeah.
Give him a little tickle under his chin. That's what I like to do. Corey's really weak to that. If you ever need to know Corey's weak spot, it's underneath his little chin. You gotta give him a little tickle.
Good to know. Good to know. That's
you guys are awesome. All right, Ola, have a good day at work, and we'll be seeing you in St. Louis.
Yeah, and have a good night, guys.
Hey, have a good one, man.
Thanks. See you.
See ya.
Hola, Corey.
When our internet, when Paco's computer exploded there, and I was just hanging out with Ola for a second while we were trying to wait for the show to get back on. He's like, yeah, I've got to get to work in 30 minutes. Can we
wrap it up?
You know, but that's cool. I mean, that shows you the Pro 2 life as well, and I'm sure there's even some Pro 1 guys that are like that. That's like, I still have a day job. I don't have time to be talking to this dumb old podcast all day in his case, because it was 6:30 in the morning there. He woke up at 5 a.m. after this long, hectic weekend just to talk to us. So we're very grateful to have him be on our show.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Pro 1 in Atlanta again.
Hey, let's go back to that. So,
all right, here's the deal, Brian Egbert, you son of a bitch. What's up? What's up, Lontaine, you fucking idiot?
Whoa.
Sorry,
Sam,
guys.
Come on, dude. These guys are making the calls here. Come on.
All right, well, what do you guys think? Were you guys like confused or upset about it?
I was definitely confused.
Again, I don't think that they were judging wrong in the parameters that were created. I'm just saying that maybe the parameters were mistaken.
Like the parameters should be changed to cater.
Yeah, and maybe it's just specific to this round and the emphasis placed on.
It might be to this round because think about it. On Long Beach and Orlando, I don't think there was that many, if any, discrepancies at all.
No, this has been, I'd say, the least controversial judging year. And I wouldn't even say these judging calls are controversial in the old-fashioned sense. I'm just not sure that they were the best for the sport.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But even that statement doesn't seem to apply much for Long Beach and Orlando, don't you think?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. It might be just this round.
What I would say is a better system, and that's the thing, is constantly a center of conversation for our show, and for anyone that creates content or makes a decision or is a judge for a sport. It's very easy to criticize. It's hard to create, and it's hard to judge in this case in their situation. But it's easy for me to say that they made the wrong call there based on what I think the sport should be. But that's what I'm saying.
We'll have the judges back for sure to do some clarifications, because I'm sure a lot of people have questions.
We've still never had Andy Yen on the show, I believe, right?
Yeah, we still due to do a show from his laundromat.
And whenever I talk to him at the rounds, I say, just make a really stupid call, and we'll get you on the show. And
and he did it. He ended up doing it this weekend.
But here's the thing, though. He was a wild card in multiple decisions, because he voted Forsberg and Forsberg versus Aasbo when the other two voted Aasbo. But he also voted Wang in Blush versus Wang when the other two voted Blush. Yeah. So it's like... I don't know. What do you do when two judges vote one way and one judge votes the other? I don't think it should be an automatic one more time, but there needs to be maybe another layer of discussion, because it's Or just is that a one more time when it's
No, I mean I think like the person whoever gets the win, but it's not like a domination kind of win. It was like, okay, I mean you win, but it still wasn't the best.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I mean, a win is a win is a win.
Well,
So.
yeah, I mean I guess like if you're talking about, for example, like to me, the fact that Jeff Jones went 2-1 more times against Forrest Wang says a lot about Jeff Jones' driving. Same like the fact that Forrest went 3-1 more times against Kristaps Blues. Even if he didn't win, it still says a lot about his driving, because this is the guy who ended up winning. This is a guy who's hardcore, badass driver, yet he's struggling with his driver. You know what I'm saying? So I think it goes to the point of like, does winning really matter that much, or putting a good show and making sure
the show
that
matters,
the fan,
but winning matters more.
Yeah, I mean they both matter, but I think look at, for example, like Turk, who has never won a championship. It's still a very popular driver. Look at Chelsea, like he's still he
Yeah,
only
I wanted to bring up. I'm trying to actually watch and find the Chelsea battle against Aasbo, because I couldn't tell if Team Rowdy and all the other Rowdy fans were just memeing and yelling, "Bring back Chelsea."
Yeah.
Was that the chant they're saying? Was "Bring back
bring
Chelsea"?
back Chelsea.
I couldn't tell if they were just being goofuses or if they were actually saying that
everybody was displeased when
Chelsea was robbed.
like a lot of people wanted to see Chelsea. I mean, I had Chelsea in my final race actually, and he was driving pretty good. I mean, there's no argument on that. And
no, he was driving very well and controlled.
Yeah,
I'm trying to find the battle now.
and I think he's doing things right. Even on his interview with Lorette, he did the Van Kirk.
He held the microphone, which I like that.
Yeah.
Now that has become a thing, which is for those that haven't been following or listening to the show years later. Matt Van Kirk, during an interview with our friend Lorette, he grabbed the microphone, which is like, that's a faux pas. You're not supposed to grab the microphone of the host that's interviewing you. Like, let them hold the microphone so they can give the proper sound level and the proper distance from your face. And then you get excited though. You just grab the microphone. So he did it, and then now it's kind of become a thing. And Chelsea being the goofus that Chelsea is, he grabbed the microphone intentionally and held it with her. It was a very good photo.
Yeah.
Was that one of our boys that took it, or I don't know how that photo got up.
There's a lot of photos. But anyways, So my point is, like, a lot of these drivers are doing what's right. So even if you don't end up winning, you're still becoming popular. You're still putting a good show. You're still like the audience. It's liking you. And I think, Corey, you've talked about this many times. I think it's a very, very important part of drifting, putting this show and letting like being a fan favorite.
Yeah, and I think drifting is still one of the only forms of motorsports that allows you to have a display your personality or character through either your driving or your vehicle. And I think that's what kind of makes this sport so unique and individualized based upon each vehicle. And you look at other forms of motorsports, if it's NASCAR or anything like that, they're all very similar outside the identity of the livery. But that's what makes drifting so cool. And you could display your personality through the car, through your driving style. And yeah, I think obviously there's people that have created a reputation and a career out of that alone. And you use Turk for an example, and some of the other guys were, they have had great years. Obviously, Turk's success in Atlanta shows that, but I think him and his character and his charisma is what is the big fighting force behind him and his brand.
Yeah, I mean, we know you don't have to win to become popular, but it's just
a bonus.
Everyone did show up to win the event, though.
Absolutely,
that is why
100%.
people are there. And yeah, I just worry that we're going to go down another judging hole in the wrong direction, like we were a few years ago, like when you were competing, Corey, which almost no driver, I feel like today would debate was a bad direction. They were down when they were slashing runs and scores, and everything was a zero automatically. There needs to be some room for emotion. There needs to be some room for what was visually more stimulating. But the problem is that, of course, then that leads to potentially more damaging calls for someone that did a technically perfect run, but was beaten by the guy that did a more emotionally charged run. So, right. I get both ends of the spectrum, and it's just difficult. But I don't know. I was just confused on the ground a couple of times by some calls, and I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, again, maybe it was just something about this track in particular. We'll see if we have similar situations like that on what's the next round? Jersey.
Jersey, babies.
Yeah. So Jersey, it's a different track. It's more similar to Orlando. It's kind of like just like going around in this place. It seems to be a little bit more tight. So I hopefully there won't be any of these kind of like discrepancies, because it's been a lot of fun being happy with the judging.
Yeah,
for sure.
And this is, like you said earlier, Paco, this is, I think, the least complaining year about judging we've ever had maybe in the sport. So I think that the triplets are doing a great job by and large, and I don't think any of the complaints that I have about this are due to bad calls by them. I think it is due to the way that the calls are being made, which is a bigger argument. And again, I don't necessarily have a solution to it. I just think that maybe some of these runs were not as they should have seen, more specifically the one more times that occurred so often. But it's a discussion that they're constantly having, and it's a discussion that we're constantly having, and it's good to discuss and fun.
Yeah.
But let's talk about, because Blush won the event, let's just talk about how he was driving. It was absolutely insane. One more time, Corey and I predicted him to be the winner. Not a big deal. Paco,
you can definitely tell he finally got the thing perfectly dialed. I mean, I think it was
sounded insane. The sound of it was nuts. And I talked to him after the event, and he said that they tuned it in such a way that got another 500 RPMs out of the motor.
Oh.
And he said those 500 RPMs are like what made it sound wild, because you're not used to hearing an LS go to 9,000. I think over 9,000.
Is it over 9,000?
Yeah. It could have been over 9,000, but that car sounded wild. Like it sounded.
Oh, everything about that car is wild. I was watching one of his qualifying videos, seen from the other side, from the dirt seating, whatever, and he's just coming down super super hard, and then just bam, like snaps. Like, sorry, headphones users, it snaps so hard. Full angle, like you can see this wheel just completely locked the other way, and he just keeps going at full throttle. It's so like to the max. Like, I don't know if it's like the maximum lightweight possible, the maximum horsepower possible, the maximum angle possible. Like, everything about that car is so crazy. But I think what's crazier is that it's so well built, so simple, and so reliable. I mean, that it only takes a crew of 3, including the driver.
Yeah, it's funny. You look at the podium photos, and you compare it to like James Dean gets up there, and it's the whole podium's filled.
The whole world.
And I think with Kristaps' team, it's everybody was standing on the top podium, just him and his two crew guys. And that's what takes to operate the HGK team.
That is HGK.
And that's HGK. The actual acronym itself is Herman, Gerald, and Kristaps.
Yep, that's literally what HGK stands for, and it's literally 3 guys. And there's some of the hardest working dudes out there, but I think once again, it's they found the right recipe that works for their team.
I think that's a very similar recipe of what Dylan has in his car. It's simple, lightweight, you know, no crazy power adders, nothing, just as bare bones as possible. The car won't fail.
Yep. Well, that's the recipe for success here is non-technical setups, and I think that it speaks volumes. But to have a naturally aspirated engine at that power level is, of course, expensive, but incredibly reliable and independent.
If you think about it, probably next to Fiorella, Kristaps' car might be one of the most expensive, if not the most expensive car. And that doesn't mean it's
just
overbuilt.
Based off of dollar value of parts, is what you're saying?
I would imagine, just the carbon Kevlar body itself, that's probably extremely expensive.
Yeah, I mean, if you could put a price on the retail value for certain parts, sure. I mean,
I'm just saying,
all these cars at this point, every pro car has immense amount of custom labor done to them. So at this point, like I get squeamish when people say like, "Oh, that's an expensive car. How much does that cost?" Because you can't really weigh.
Can't really put the money.
You can to some degree. You can to some degree weigh man hours and the immense amount of hours poured into these cars. But like, how much is an hour of like Forsberg's time worth? And then he pours 1,000 hours into this car in the off season. Like, how much do you value that car?
Yeah.
And how much is this carbon Kevlar custom one of body panel worth that took immense time to mold and create and design and so on? Like, value.
We could ask Kristaps
at this point.
He's most likely going to be with us in the next episode.
Who?
So
Christy?
Christophe and the Blush. So we
Yeah,
can ask him like
Jonathan.
roughly how much one of those cars sell. You know, like an Eurofighter, just like same engine, same spec, and all that stuff. Because
Say about as much as a new Honda Civic, at least.
the Type R.
Yeah.
You know, it makes me think of something here. You know how in other motorsports disciplines like F1, WRC, the championship-winning cars from well-known drivers, they get sold for actually a higher value than what it was to build the car. At what point, which drift car do you think in Formula Drift will actually reach that level to where, if this drift car was to roll into Barrett Jackson, would sell for the most money?
That's tough to say, but also like you think about like these rally cars that you bring up. Like I feel like these cars are much more engineered than even those rally cars that were getting sold. Like it's crazy to think that rally is a bigger and longer living sport than drifting, but the amount of engineering that goes into that Christoph's car or Aasbo's car or any of these top tier cars. Like I wonder.
Well,
yeah, it's just so hard to put a monetary value on it. I don't know.
But anyways. So,
Anyways,
Christoph's won. I'm pretty sure it's not gonna be his first and last victory. I think we're gonna see him on the podium pretty often this season.
Yeah, he's driving like a madman.
Yeah.
And there's something about his aura that looked like I love that term. It
No,
looked like
and-
Forsberg
no.
in Orlando.
Yeah, no kidding.
You saw Forsberg in Orlando early on. You knew he was going to win. You saw Christoph's here. You knew he was going to win. There's something about the general look about him and the sound of the car and the visual of the car that just said that this guy
And
was
the
going to win the
sound,
event.
the sound of the Latvian mating call.
The Latvian mating call, a cool video that Corey made while we were driving to the airport in Atlanta, is the unadulterated joy in Christoph's voice when he jumps on the car after he gets announced the victor. He screams, he bows. It was very exciting to see.
Yeah.
And finally, the same thing we saw happen in Orlando, which is so fun that there's no huge beefs in the driftings these days. In that in Orlando, we saw Dean and Forsberg and Aasbo all shaking hands and bowing, and Forsberg picked up Dean after his car crash, and they all went to the line for the announcement together.
Yep.
And in this case, Aasbo and Forsberg and Kristaps drove side by side, like almost like top 16 announcements when three drivers of the same team drive out together. They drove out together like side by side. Like I know people have done this before, but there's something special about it in that everyone that lost was so happy for the winner.
Yeah, it's
Like,
fun.
usually there's some bitterness, but they were just so happy for Kristaps to win, and it's giving me chills. I got chills thinking about it.
Yeah.
Like it was the true spirit of drifting, and it was such an incredible event, and the excitement for Kristaps winning was palpable for everyone.
I was talking to Aasbo after the podium, and he was like super excited about Kristaps, and he's like, "Dude, I want his car. Like this car sounds amazing, and he drives awesome, and I'm so pumped for him." Like you can tell, like legitimately, they were happy for him. You know, there was like just this very positive attitude between all the drivers, which I think is the greatest thing.
Definitely.
No dumb beefs.
No dumb beefs yet.
Yes.
New Jersey is to come. New Jersey has a history of creating beefs.
That's gonna be the widow maker.
Any more talk about drifting before we talk about some of our contests and other content?
Well,
we have here?
before we move on to all that, huge thanks to our content creators, Arno Sebi, Kyle Cross, and Frank J. Mirabelli IV,
Nice.
who were absolutely killing it this weekend. Like, you guys literally murdered
Yeah, that's the thing.
And
Is
got away
we've
with
been
it.
getting a
literally
lot
murdered.
and got away with it.
of. No, we've been talking to a lot of staff members and even a lot of people involved with the series. And even for this round, we were once again one of the largest producers of media and content out of everybody through Atlanta through this content creator program that we started with these guys. And it's one of the things that we're just testing this year, and it's been super awesome when these guys are literally taking the time and effort and putting this together. In return,
It's like I told a couple of people that were asking me about it. It's like a couple years ago when I had wanted to start shooting drifting, I had to scratch and beg and claw to try to find someone to quote unquote sponsor me, to just say and vouch for me and say that I could behave enough to be out there. And that was my buddy Jeff from Hooniverse that did that for me. But he didn't really know me at the time, and I had to reach out to him as a kind of unknown person and say, hey, can you let me do this? And can you put your name on me and let me shoot for you? And he thankfully did sight unseen and trusted me to do that. But that's kind of what we are trying to do for you guys that want to learn the craft and go out to these events and shoot and try to create a name for yourself and try to create content. So yeah, we're just trying to help you guys get out there and get into the event, and hopefully you don't do anything stupid. Don't run out in the track in the flip flops.
yeah, in shorts and have Andy Luck fight you guys to the death.
Yeah,
no, but
don't get us our privileges revoked. But yeah, as much as we can, we will always and forever get as many of you dudes in there to create content and to help the sport, help yourselves, help us, and you guys are awesome. So creating sweet stuff.
And for us personally, there's nothing more exciting than getting compliments from people within the series and the teams appreciating how quickly the content is getting out there. And that's kind of the whole idea behind this Driftcast, is to be the people who are kind of breaking the information, getting you guys the content and making you feel like you're a part of that event. And through that content creator program, it's been pretty successful. I'm really stoked on it.
This seems to happen quite often because Larry and I both live in LA. We end up on the same flights together more often than not. And he had, I believe, mentioned something about the photos looking awesome, which is definitely a compliment for you guys.
Larry gave us a little confidence booster, huh? Yeah,
Larry Shen, the most famous photographer ever made.
Ever born. No, we saw him at the airport, and he kind of mentioned the same thing to us too. That he's like, "What are you guys doing with all these?" Because the three Larrys were there actually at the airport, and like Lewis and all those other guys.
Larry, Curly, and Mo.
And so Larry has a staff with them at each round, and it's like this is our little core group, and we're super stoked on them.
We should have a dance off against them because we got 3, they got 3.
Yeah, we'd easily dominate, dude.
We were gonna kick their asses, to be honest with you. But I mean, we should do it anyways, just to pound little Larry Bear into the ground.
So yeah, I mean, like if we definitely would like ask the people who's listening, go follow our guys. Older accounts are on our Instagram. Like the older photos are tagged with their Instagrams. Go give them a follow, support them because they're supporting the show as well. So
and also if you're a team listening to this, we know a lot of you drivers listen to our show hopefully, and you've made it this far into the show for some reason or another. But if you're looking for a photographer and you have a few extra bucks to pay these kids, get them out there and pay them for the photos. Do what you got to do, and let's make drifting awesome and expand media coverage and become the biggest automotive sport in the world.
Which speaking of media and speaking of content creators, Lorette. She has a new article coming soon. It's gonna be published next week. We'll also be dressed up with photos from our content creators. Also, we have an article that we just posted late last week from Emilia Poliet, and she's from England, and she was at Riga at one of these crazy Latvian drift events. Tons of photos, tons of content, great write-up. Go check them out. All these articles are on our website, MaximumDriftcast.com. And there'll be a lot more articles coming up soon. We have Frank is also writing an article for this event for Atlanta. So go check out the website.
Definitely. All right, let's talk about some contests and giveaway stuff. You guys like free shit? You guys?
Which one are we doing first?
I'd say let's talk about our Maximum Rowdycast sign contest.
AM Rowdycast.
We asked you guys to make signs. Team Rowdy's been making signs for years at Atlanta and getting weird and saying hilarious things. And we have to burp. Excuse me. We had an exciting contest with AM. They sponsored this, and we are giving away an intake system to the winner of this contest. And we saw lots of really good signs, which may have been made without our help at all, but thankfully you guys submitted some of the best ones to us to be involved in this contest. And I think we have a winner, right?
Yeah, we have. Before we go with the winner, we definitely have a lot of good honorable mentions. There's one that I really like from Uno's Roadster. Is holding a Pop D Scooby Doob Scop something. That was just like super hard to read. But I think I saw you and Corey reading it perfectly. Or was it you, Corey, and Chris from AM?
What does that even say?
I think it's something Kanye related.
I'll read it. It says, poop dee scoop, scoop diddy whoop, whoop dick scoop, dick pop, poop skitty poop, scoopity wop, whoop, scoop diddy whoop, whoop diddy scoop. Whoop diddy scoop. And then there's an emoji of the poop.
Was it that the Scat Man?
Almost. I don't know.
No, Scatman is skibba beep up up bottle pop.
Wow.
Pop.
Good call.
I'm a
son.
scat man.
Kaylee, our friend of the pod here, she made a really good sign. It said Forsberg gets the wings.
That was inspired.
And she made the sign without knowing that Forsberg is a vegan. And then as she's halfway through doing it, she's like, oh my God, is Forsberg a vegan? It's like, yeah, it's even funnier now that Forsberg gets the wings.
Chris Forsberg gets the wings. Our buddy Greggy.
Big B520 did a really good one. June
Which
Mang
one?
for president 2020.
Oh, yes. That's definitely, it was a good, solid June Mang for president 2020.
Mm-hmm. My personal favorite that didn't submit to the contest, which is unfortunate because I would have fought tooth and nail for them to win, was it was one of the funniest moments I've ever had at a drift event. Probably is Jared's in the tower announcing, and all of a sudden I see off to the left this family. There's a person holding a sign up in the air, and there's a kid behind the sign, and there's another kid on the ground, I believe, and the sign just says, I believe, Jared, these are your children's.
It's children.
It's not Jared, these are your children. It's Jared, these are your children's. and there's something that just got me about that. There it is. Hold on. Jared is the father of these children's. and Jared didn't want to mention it, of course, on stream, but he looked over and he starts laughing. And it was a magical sign. I was a big fan of that one. But they did not submit to the contest. Therefore, you lose, you guy.
And we have to do a special mention to somebody who pandered super hard.
Yeah, Greggy boy.
Greg, I mean, you were very, very close with your Illuminati.
Except he spelled Illuminati wrong, or maybe that was an intentional clue for us to follow. Like he spelled it illuminate.
Yeah.
Or Illuminati.
I told him that was kind of like...
Maybe that's a clue to get us to the next step. But he has the AEM and then the A in Paco, E in Corey, and M in Sam. He figured it out. Illuminate confirmed. But we couldn't give him the intake because he pandered a little bit too hard for us. I was excited. A couple quick other honorable mentions. We love the Forsberg gets the win, and it had an excited Forsberg face and a sad Forsberg face on either side. That was from Miss Mazda Speed. That was an excellent one. We can't give you the win because people already think that I pandered to Forsberg too hard anyways. Yeah, but another
good one right here is our content creator Kyle Cross with his sign.
I'm not Nick Swan.
I'm not Nick Swan. If you don't know, there are like literally twin brothers.
Nick Swan, Grid Life personnel as well as spotter for Dirk Stratton. They look very similar in figure, girth, facial hair, you name it. I like the one that there was a Piotr Wiechek sign, which I feel like maybe, I'm probably not the first one to say it, but that may have been a throwback to my Driver on Driver with James Dean. If so, thank you very much. Also, a throwback to Driver on Driver with James Dean. Paco, you're watching porn on the airplane.
Okay. And this needs to be clarified. Corey, set it up.
Corey took the perfect gram of Paco on the airplane.
I was sleeping and I heard a noise from an old lady screeching, and I look over and Paco's just going to town on it.
I wasn't.
So Paco was sitting right in front of Corey on the airplane. Corey happens to start up the Maximum Driftcast Instagram story right over Paco's shoulder, and it happens to be a sex scene in the shape of water. But the way the exact perfect timing, it's probably like a 7-second long sex scene, but Corey caught and finished it in the sex scene finished in the perfect amount of time. That just made it look like Paco was just watching porn on the plane.
That movie has a very uncomfortable amount of boobs and bush for an airplane movie.
Oh, don't be such a prude, man.
No, I'm saying for an airplane movie. Like that's a movie that came recommended from the airplanes.
Yeah,
like,
so
selection.
you're actually watching it on the American Airlines.
Yeah, that was
app.
like the first option. Like that was the first. Like, oh, okay, I've been wanting to watch this movie. Let's watch this. Whoa! Had an old lady sitting next to me. It was hard to explain.
But you didn't have to have such a boner when you were watching it. That was your doing.
Well, I mean, think about it. Like sea creature, women. It's almost like hentai.
It's like hentai for you.
It's pretty much.
And that's
like,
actually, we want to apologize. That's why the video portion of this podcast, the live version, went down because Paco was downloading too many hentais.
Too much hentais.
All right, so
go with the winner.
The winner. Let's do this.
Let's do it on Corey's camera because Corey's camera can actually focus better.
We're sure that this is the actual creator of the sign before you blast it.
That's the sign.
Yep. That's the Wart House Improvement.
Wart
And
House.
we like this sign because multiple levels. The Wart House Improvement sign because it's the home improvement sign.
And we're
It's
a fan of
Wart
Tim
House
Allen.
Improvement sign. They make roofs.
And
They're improving. It was friendly. It was fun. It's kind of shaped like a little dinger too, if you really think about it. So that's fun. But yeah, we like that sign a lot, only because the guy with the children's sign didn't submit.
Yeah.
You goddamn guy. But you deserve an AAM intake. Congratulations,
that
my
is
friend.
Jeff Smith.
Yep, Jeff, get in contact with us. We'll get in contact with you. This is not the last time we're going to be doing such a similar contest. We're going to be doing giveaways all throughout the year with our sponsors like Motegi Racing, Next Entire, AM Intake. But congratulations, Jeff. You done it. You got yourself an intake for your car. Whatever it is.
Speaking
Hopefully,
of which,
I wonder what kind of car he drives. I guess probably a
Pontiac Fiero.
Pontiac Fiero. Yeah,
Yep.
that
You
AM
need an
makes
intake for the
that.
Pontiac Fiero.
Speaking of giveaway, guys, I'm going to say this right now. We are next week or this week.
This week, Diaper
Let me see,
Fest.
this week
We're
or
gonna
next
flip
week.
our-
It's
Diaper
one of these
Fest.
Thursdays. It might be this Thursday or next Thursday, but we got confirmation. I have a set of Motegi wheels, MR135s, that we're giving
Oh.
away.
Whoa. This is
18
a
by
What's
9.5 plus
What's this?
25 front, 18 by 9.5 plus 15s. They are 5 by 1 14.3s, and they're gold with the machine lip.
Nice.
These are the MR135s, and we're going to be talking more about this, but head over to Motegi
Corey, why are you
Racing
spraying this on us?
Instagram.
I don't even know about
Because it's a surprise, guys. Head
Well,
over
hold
to
on.
Motegi
Sorry, I
Racing.
talked over you.
Head over to Motegi Racing Instagram. They're going to be doing some announcing from their page regarding this, and then we're going to help kind of facilitate that. But we are be giving a set away within this week or next week. Just keep an eye on their Instagram, and it looks like we'll have some information that they'll be dumping on Thursday. But it's
So-
a brand new set of wheels.
Listen here, you idiots. You know that you've got those like publisher clearinghouse things in the mail, and you've had other contests where there's like billions of people that are involved. A lot of people like our show, I think. There's like a couple thousand of you. That's really good odds. All right.
Right.
When you think about it, like if you were 1 in 1,000 to win a set of wheels, that is a really good odds. It's probably going to be a lot less than that. Go sign up.
Keep an eye on Motegi's Instagram. We are going to be coming up with a strategy on this, and they're going to be releasing details either this Thursday or next Thursday. We're just finalizing a few things, but it is going to happen within the next 2 weeks. So jump over there, check it out now. And the
There's a
other thing,
very good chance you're gonna win a
what's
set of
wheels
wheels,
without tires, Sam? We should
What is wheels?
we talked to Paul at Nexon, the Infera Club, which all the FD drivers are a part of, as well as other associates in the motorsports community, the Infera Club, which they have Instagram. Check that out, Infera Club. Paul gave us permission in the next coming weeks to give away a brand new set of Infera SUR4 tires, the same tires that we run in Formula Drift, which are their
Formula Drift.
The Formula Drift. I was thinking I really have Ola still kind of talking in the back of my ear. So we'll be giving it potentially a set of Infera SUR4 tires away within the next few weeks as well. So if you win the wheels, hopefully you'll be able to win the tires, and you'll be decked out on some Motegi.
You guys could win it all.
Yeah.
But that's pretty serious, though. I'm pumped that we have such strong support for the show that
gonna try to
we have the
And,
ability to give out an expensive 6 set of wheels and an expensive six
And
set of tires.
Sam and Atlanta treated us good, man. You know, when we have the squadron together, Atlanta treated us well, and we might have a new sponsor to announce next week. So
Is it the wings place that we went to and we threw chicken wings all over the place?
there,
The Buick?
the ATL
Is
Hot
it
Wings will
The
be on
Wing
our
Bar.
team. But we have once again, guys, these supporters that are coming onto the show and these Patreons are allowing us to do a lot of these different things, from going to each round to doing the halftime show to getting content out there. We're actually looking to get some other video guys on board to help create content for us. But once again, we've been in a really good position as far as being the fastest growing and the fastest producing media group in drifting.
I would say the best drifting
And
podcast ever made.
yeah, we could say that because we're probably one of the only ones. But we're excited to do a bunch of giveaways. We got a new sponsor coming on, which is involved with Formula Drift on a high level, and they make some really cool stuff, and hopefully we can work some other deals out for giveaways.
But long story short is pay attention to our grams and our Facebooks. We're going to be talking about these giveaways extensively, and like I just said, like, you know, we have a growing audience. We have thousands of people that now listen to the show on a weekly basis. But there's a really good chance you guys are going to win a set of wheels or tires or this other sponsor that we're not mentioning yet. Like, the odds have never been better. I would like this stuff, so maybe don't sign up.
And it's funny, Logan in our Facebook group goes, you should invest the Patreon money into cat food. Logan, we already are, because that's what we eat when we're on the road. So
new currency.
Yep. So we appreciate the cat food.
We did have Taco Bell at 2 a.m. on Friday night.
We did.
Because that was all those open.
Yep, we sure did.
It was really good. I liked it a
also,
lot.
while we're finishing up thanking people, obviously thank McLeod.
No, we still have one giveaway.
What's that, Sam?
We still have one giveaway.
Well, we can jump right in that. I wish. Hold on,
be great.
Paco's excited about this giveaway. Go, Paco. It's all you. This is another giveaway. Oh my God. Go ahead, Paco. What is it?
Hyperfest. We were just talking about
what? Hyperfest?
That's right.
So I'm going to be out there at Hyperfest this weekend, shooting with Hyperfest. Brian Egbert, the Eggman, he's going to be out there hosting the event, helping host the event. But we have some tickies to give away.
Ooh, tickets to Hyperfest. How many?
We have 4 tickets, I believe, and we were trying to come up with different ways to give these tickets away, and we could do a bunch of contests. We could do this and do that, but it's going to be really simple this time, actually. We just want you to send us a message and tell us why you want tickets to Hyperfest. And if you are the person that sends us a message that we deem the most needing of these 4 tickets, whether it's just you and another person that need 2 tickets, we can give the 2 to someone else.
Where are they going to send the messages
to? It could be needing. It can be entertainment. You can tailor your message to us in whatever form you prefer. So,
but more or less, if you have the ability to make it out there, we don't want to give them away to someone that is going to make it. But if you want to get out there, have the ability to get out there, and don't have tickets,
hey Sam,
let us know.
Can they meet you and hang out with you?
Yeah, I've got a super ridiculous schedule because there is so much to be done there. There is going to be drifting ride-alongs. There's going to be crazy pro drifting. There's going to be off-road ride-alongs, crazy off-roading. There's going to be some rally stuff. There's going to be, I almost said Hot Wheels. There's going to be Power Wheels, like, you know, the big Power Wheels races. They're going to be doing those down the hill. There's going to be
Sam. More importantly, Sam,
there's going to be helicopter rides. There's going to be a chili pepper eating contest.
Ooh.
There's going to be an air guitar contest. There's going to be a burnout contest. There's going to be an exhaust contest.
Wow, this is a battle of the champions. I just want to know if you're going to tell people your camera settings.
Camera settings. You want to know them right now?
Yep.
Well, my Red Cam is currently in for repairs because it tried to kill me again the other day, and I'm not pleased about that. But customer service is grudgingly helping me. I don't want to talk about that right now, but I'm going to be having my Canon 1DX Mark II out there. It's the same Canon Larry Chen uses.
Ooh.
Settings on that are full auto, baby, because I like to go automatically, if you know what I mean.
All right, so Hyperfest guys, also check them out on Instagram and message us with.
And they're going to message us via Instagram?
Yep.
Yeah, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. We're going to actually do another post about that tomorrow, no doubt. But quite simply, if you have the ability to make it to the show and you want to make it to the show, tell us why you deserve these tickets to make it to the show. And we'll give them to you. Yep. And holy shit, hold on. We just got a YouTube power question from Chris Nelson.
Awesome.
What did Chris Nelson say?
He said, you guys finally had Federico spaghetti. How was it?
Oh, that's
Chris,
right.
It was incredible. We had talked to Federico about giving us some spaghetti. He was going to make us spaghetti in Long Beach, but his car exploded and caught on fire, so it couldn't. But he made some spaghettis in Atlanta, and we hung out with Fede for a little bit, and he fed us spaghetti. He Federico'd us some spaghetti.
It was actually really
good. I'm not even joking.
Good.
It was really good.
Yeah, he cooked it fresh in. You know, when he walked in his trailer, he had a wooden table set up with a centerpiece, chairs around it, like a full decked out family eating in his small little trailer.
When we got there, everybody's yelling at each other. Like, it was just like
an
being
old family.
In
people kept on doing this with their hands. Brian, if you could, Paco can also do it too, I'm sure. But like they were doing this a lot. It was weird.
Yep.
Like that's absolutely part of the lingo, you know. And like literally when we show up, they're like yelling at each other, they're like doing this, and Federico's like, "I'm not angry, you know, this is how we talk."
Yep.
Someone then,
Yep.
but also that if you remember, that guy came behind Corey with a garrote and strangled him and nearly decapitated him and said like,
Yeah,
Sleep-
keep
you're
it in the
sleeping.
family.
or something like that. I don't know.
Tonight you're sleeping with the fishes.
Yeah, I don't speak Italians.
Buongiorno.
But
That's
God,
it.
We got a lot of stuff going on. We're giving away a lot of shit.
Yeah, we got wheels, we got tires, we got Hyperfest tickets. I'm
stay
sure we're
tuned,
gonna be
stay
talking about
tuned. We're
grid
gonna be
life
giving
stuff.
you details and all that.
Yeah.
And always thank our Patreons. You guys are keeping us alive. Thanks to AEM Intakes for being our first and best buddy. And we're pumped to give away this intake for the sign contest with Team Rad and Proud, Team Rowdy. And yeah, that about covers it. Great round, great sport. Love everything about it. Love all you. Thanks for all the fans that said hello to Paco and Corey and I at the event and told us that you either loved us or you hated us or whatever.
Suggestions. Yep.
Man,
Let's go.
All right, guys.
Let's go to bed.
Let's
go to
night
bed.
time.
We're gonna see you all at New Jersey in just a few very short weeks. These rounds are firing off back to back to back. But can't wait to see you all there. Can't wait for another AM Intakes halftime show. And let's see where this sport goes, baby. We're going to talk to Kristaps next week, hopefully. If not, we're going to talk to Corey's little friend.
Sounds good. Well,
Open to interpretation.
okay, perfecto. All right, guys.
Adios.
That was a good one. Let's
Hola.
see you next week.
Wait, does Ola like aloha? Can you say it at
Aloha
the
Kitchen.
hello and